Right, if I can have a few little leaflets and hand a few out for everyone. Excellent. Go ahead. There you go. Is this yours? Yeah, it's everybody's. There you go. See what? All of us. Where are you from? Sorry, Devon. I'm from Devon. But all over the country. All over the country. There you go. Hi all. Hi Karen. Late start. Excuses? Do I have to? Yeah, it's just a late start. I think it was quite hard to try and get cleaned up today. Quite hard to try and find places to get washed. In the end, it was a full strip down wash in a Starbucks coffee shop. Not a pleasant experience, you know. We've run out of water for the camper, so I need to find some parking. But this is Sheffield, day 6, and we've picked this spot here. We were going to be in, I think it's Peace Gardens or something up the road, but it seems like there's less wind here. We seem to be a bit better. I'm not sure what the stream's like. Can you give me a yes, you can hear okay, and yes, the stream's okay? I'm unsure what the stream's like at the moment. Excellent, thank you very much. Good. Yes, quite busy. Yeah, I think we're going to do okay. We're going to be here till about 5 o'clock or so, maybe a little bit later, but we'll see. And if you look over here, we've got someone else I can show you. Look who this is. What you doing?
I'm working. I'll be over there soon.
You're working, are you?
I am just emailing, texting, and doing what I'm doing. And I'm trying to finish sooner rather than later. I'm due to finish at 5, but I was given extra hours today that I can't say no to. So I've just had to carry on work. I've been laptop on my lap in the van, laptop in my lap in the Starbucks, laptop in my lap everywhere. So I will be over there. I'm trying to see if I can kind of cut that little 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there, but I'm really sorry. Impromptu work, so I have to do it.
So there you go. It's hard to try and get lots of time off holiday and that. I was lucky to get a couple of weeks off. But Roxanne's going to try and fit her work on the road. And she's been given quite a few hours today, and you know it's hard to say no when you know we all need the pennies. Curiosity got the better of it. Hi, Coffee Paul. I'm glad you've got your name Coffee Paul. We've got too many Pauls, and so putting something like coffee in there first, we know who's who. After me, it's meant to be taking the wheel. That is Nora. I think it's meant to be Roxanne and maybe Dave Murphy, but we could do with 1 or 2 more people, I think. It's really difficult because, as I say, I would like to carry on. I'm out here, but I've got a great job. It's really, I'm really confused. Pack in the job and get on with it, but as I say, the camper and all that, I had to get a loan for it, and it's tied to property, and so it's difficult. Yeah, we've got a question. I can see a question coming.
Yeah, of course. How can I help? So what's the significance of this, sorry?
Of this one?
Yeah.
That's triangulation. That's Lauren. Most people think that your phone service just goes straight up to a satellite. And we're trying to say to people, like that, no, your phone doesn't go up to a satellite, it just goes to cell towers. And then people ask about, well, okay, what about the GPS? Well, GPS is nothing more than just triangulation. There is no evidence or proof that a satellite is actually in space. How could they survive in space with these sort of temperatures? It gets up to about 2,500 degrees Celsius in space. Well, with radiative heat, because it's not direct heat that's in space, it's radiative heat. when radiative heat hits these satellites in the thermosphere, aluminium melts at 660, titanium at 1,670.
In the thermosphere?
In the thermosphere. That's where the International Space Station is. You've got some satellites there, you've got some satellites a bit further, but the temperatures in space, well, you've heard, it's very cold in space. That's because there's no molecules, that's what we're told. So there's no direct heat transfer from molecule to molecule. But there is radiative heat. How do you think that sun, that heat gets to us?
Infrared, yeah.
It's radiation, yeah, it's radiation. That's all that is. So satellite, I mean, and then we're looking at propulsion. How does propulsion work in space? You know, like Newton's third law, for every action there has to be an opposite and equal reaction. So what's it pushing against? This like this rocket fuel, this burning. What's it pushing against?
Well, it uses momentum to get out.
Okay, so but they turn around. I don't know if you've seen like you know the APUs. You know when they put the big jetpacks on and they go around. They go all different directions, but they're still traveling at 17,000 miles an hour. Along with the International Space Station, but they go in every which direction. What is it pushing against? We're asking questions.
What do you mean what they push against?
Well, again, Newton's third law, for every action there has to be an opposite and equal reaction. So propulsion, let's say that you're on
They use fuel.
Oh, okay, so, right. So when you're on a boat, and then your boat, or the propeller's going, pushing against the ocean and that, okay? And then when we've got rockets going up, it's pushing against our atmosphere. But when it gets into space, what is that burnt rocket fuel? What is it pushing against?
No, the rockets don't push against the atmosphere.
Right, so it's magic.
No, it's not magic. It's just other science.
Okay.
Like it's not a boat.
Science,
it's not the same
science
thing.
that can't be proved to you. Or
No, it
me.
can be proved.
How?
Because if you literally look at the chemistry
of what?
The chemistry of burning rocket
I've heard
fuel.
all these stories and all these arguments, and the stories, but can't be proved. You've just got to believe
they
it.
can be proved.
Okay, tell us.
Literally by experimentation.
Okay, experimentation. Which one?
Well, when you burn
And
a
by the way,
fuel.
I'm not trying to score points or.
No, it's fair. It's fair. It's just
We're
fair.
asking questions.
So when you burn a fuel,
Okay.
which can be done in a laboratory,
Okay.
it creates the force itself.
In a vacuum,
In a vacuum, you can create.
and we do that.
Yeah, it creates a force.
Because that we've tried to see things being burnt in a vacuum. They still have to push against something, and then obviously oxygen's got to be added to the fuel as well.
Well,
because-
yeah, that's part of the fuel.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so but it still has to push against something.
What? But why do you?
And we see these rockets go up. We see them go up plenty of times, and then we see them curl over and then come back down. That's what we see what rockets doing. Every rocket that we've ever seen going up, we see it go up, and then and then we see it sort of like bending over, curling over, and then just out in the distance we see it come back down.
When do you see that?
Really, every time.
No. The bits that come off are that there's multiple parts to a rocket.
Okay.
So the parts that come off,
I've
you
been
see the
told-
parts
I've
you
been
come
told
back
that. Yeah.
are the two starter rockets at the side. So they come off.
And yet it's still got all that momentum. Them other bits that aren't just dropping down, they're still carrying on and coming down
Well, they have a
gradually,
separate rocket part as
gradually.
part of them.
Sorry,
So the bit that has the separate rocket as part of them doesn't come down.
it does.
Well, why do
And
if
we
you've
can-
actually seen a recording of it, it doesn't. It goes
Well,
straight
I've
up.
seen lots of recordings. I've been researching this for 3 years.
So the bit that comes down is the separate rockets that detach.
Okay. Oh, well, I do expect that they do detach, but the thing is, you wouldn't be able to see them, with your naked eye or anything. Laws of perspective and all that. The ones that detach and all that, because what we see is rocket fuel still burning, and we see the actual the rocket that is on fire. We don't just see an object fall down. That was it, just a metal lump.
Well, no,
we see this rocket flame still going and going and going, and then coming down. That still flame is burning. That's what we see. Not just not just a lump, a lump of steel falling down.
Titanium.
We
I
don't see
don't
that.
understand
Titanium, sorry,
which bit you mean. But fair enough. Anyway.
No, let's move on.
Yeah,
So, and again, I apologise if it sounds as though that I'm trying to score points or anything.
Same.
It's what I've learned. Yeah, sorry, yeah, okay.
So this bit.
Well, 71% of Earth is water, okay? That's what we're told. It's water.
Not the
okay.
mass, the surface.
Sorry?
As in the surface as opposed to the mass.
Possibly, but that's not the point. But 71% of Earth is water, and it's It's going right round the ball. We live on a ball. Okay. So what is it? What's making it cling to a ball and not fall off?
As in the gravity.
As in gravity. The gravity that is magic that we can't prove.
We can prove.
Which brought gravity?
Sorry?
Which one?
What do you mean which gravity?
Well, see, most people think that it's Sir Isaac Newton and Apple's, two masses attracting masses and that. But that was superseded by Albert Einstein's theory of relativity,
That
the
wasn't
bending of
superseded.
time and space. Go in the American Journal, American Scientific Journal. It has been superseded. Go and check that one out.
Gravity hasn't been superseded.
Superseded by Albert Einstein.
Which
Go on
Albert
the American
Einstein?
Scientific Journal, and then
It
check
hasn't
that
been
out yourself.
superseded.
Well, that's what they say in there.
Who? Sorry.
Okay, I would like to quote his name. I can't think of his name. Does anyone know the American Scientific Journal? Who actually wrote that one? Someone will. Right, someone will do it. Of course you can. Sorry.
Wait, your t-shirt.
My T-shirt. I love Pete Tong.
Sick. Nice one. Do you want to see?
No, that's okay. I've seen myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, honestly, check that out. Just go type into Google American Scientific Journal.
So some of the concepts from, so you mentioned the Principia here.
Okay.
The idea of some of the concepts of the Principia. It's not that
stories.
it's not because it's
Stories
literally
and-
proven in the lab as well.
Stories and theories. The theory
Calling
of
it stories and
gravity.
theories doesn't actually change it.
I've heard all this so many times before. You can't keep saying it's a theory. It's the best evidence that
I
we've
see,
got, so
okay,
that's
right.
fact.
So
You
that
can't
so
say
so
that.
so
There's
the
stories.
misunderstanding here is
It's like
what
this guy here, he says that I've got a great story, someone else agrees with him, now let's call it a theory, and then you say, well, that's the
So
best evidence that we've
that's
got.
not what a
It's not
scientific
good
theory
enough.
is. So a scientific theory is very different to your idea of a theory, it would seem.
Okay,
Because what you think of a theory is, from what I'm getting is that I think it must be this,
okay.
and therefore that's what it is, because that's the best idea we've got. That's not a scientific theory.
Tell us what that
A
is.
scientific theory must be proven.
Okay. Oh, right, so it's not a theory then? It's,
No,
it's
it is.
fact.
It is no, because the
You
the
just said proof.
yeah. So it's theory, as in the theory, as in when you write out a mathematical theory, you're writing out the theory, not as in I have a theory about this.
Okay, well, that's
It's
what it, yeah.
a theory,
So,
as in.
so we've got to twist on, we've got to play on words then. We've got to
No,
twist.
it's
Not
just
confused
it's a
people.
lay definition versus a scientific definition.
Okay.
So what a theory is, so evolution, be it evolution, be it this or whatever a theory is in science is the evidence.
Okay.
So as in literally proven evidence, as in
proven evidence,
Yes.
not just evidence.
as in proven
So
evidence.
you're saying that gravity has been proven?
Yes.
Scientific
Yes.
method?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, it
Who
has.
did that?
Like hundreds of years of research. The latest thing is we actually know of the radiation that's responsible for
Okay.
it as well.
Who actually has used the scientific method to prove gravity? Who was that? The scientific method.
What was as in like the
I would like you to go online, I want you to research, and you find out that that scientific method has never ever been proven with a hypothesis, with a independent variable and dependent variable. It's never been
has.
proven. Find
Yes,
out.
no. Well,
I know
no,
you
you
think.
look as well.
I thought that myself. I thought that, oh, of course, science has got this.
okay. So what is the relevance to this?
So what we're trying to say is, if water, what can hold, like all this water, we're denouncing gravity. If things dropping, can it not be just as simple as density and buoyancy? The fact that you are heavier than the air around
Density doesn't
you.
exist without gravity. That's
Yeah,
part
well,
of it.
that's another story, another
not-
play on
it's a
words.
proven- it's a proven story, if
Again,
that's how you like it.
Again, using the
If you were
scientific
to actually look,
method,
if you were to
there is
actually
proof
look it
to
up,
that then.
if you were to actually, yes, there is. If you actually were to look it up,
Okay.
there are scientific, like laboratory-based, actually evidence-based
Right.
proof that mass is as a result of
Again,
gravity.
that sounds like a great story. Can you actually give us some names, some citations to that?
Okay.
You think it's just so that you
I can't,
can-
but I have also read them, so
Well,
you
yeah,
can look it up.
again,
And it doesn't
stories.
exist.
All I'm appealing to people on the street and saying to look, give us some names, give us some citations, give us some actual proof, not evidence and stories and theories. What you think is.
So if
a
I were to
theory.
present with a paper right now
Okay.
that says mass is as a result of gravity,
When
would you believe it?
When you say paper.
As in a scientific paper?
Okay, but a paper that has been peer reviewed.
Yes.
Okay, because that's the thing.
Because it's research in CERN that's
because
done it,
I
that's
know
proven
that, like I would say, 90% of all scientific evidence that so-called got peer reviewed never got falsified.
Where did you get that
whatsoever.
number from?
Okay, I'm just throwing that as a what's it? High.
But
I
that-
believe it was at 98%. I think it was, but I'm just throwing
where?
90% because sorry.
Well, again, that's a story, though,
That's
isn't
a-
it?
that's
you
my
haven't,
story.
but you haven't proven that through any kind of evidence.
You're quite right. I've heard that, and that's it. Yeah.
So anyway, so the water thing.
So we're denouncing gravity. We're saying that there is no evidence, there is no proof. It's just a great story. Okay. Even planes? What's it going round the globe?
Just with this, just sticking with this.
Okay.
Why do you think things drop?
Density, nothing more than relative density and electromagnetism.
But why does electromagnetism and relative density mean things drop?
Say that again.
Why do those things mean things drop?
Look. So you are heavier than the air around you. That's why a helium balloon, we know it's less dense and therefore it rises.
But why does something less dense go up?
Say what?
Why does something less dense go up?
Because electromagnetism.
What?
Okay, electromagnetism.
But-
so I
no, no,
suggest
why-
that
why-
you
why
go
does
again on the street. I'm not
I
trying.
know what electromagnetism is.
Well, there
Why
you
does that
go,
mean it goes
there
up?
you go. Sorry.
Why would electromagnetism mean it goes up?
I never said that. Electromagnetism would probably mean that things come back down.
Okay, so why do lighter things go up?
Because we have a voltage up there in the air. The higher that we go up,
Voltage?
we've got a voltage up there.
So you think it's drawn
And then,
up?
and then Earth is a negative, so we've got a positive up there, we've got a negative down there.
So I'm more
and,
negative.
and therefore things are attracted in one direction.
So you think it's magnetism as opposed to electromagnetism?
Electromagnetism.
No, because electromagnetism is radiation.
Is radiation?
Yeah.
And,
So the electromagnetic spectrum is things like infrared,
okay.
and so that's not
Well,
electromagnetism.
again, you're saying that that's a story to me then.
Well, you've just used the
Yeah,
word.
well, I know, because you're asking it, so I'm just throwing that there. Again, I'm not trying to prove or have a debate with you. We're not here to have a debate
But
with
if
you.
you're telling me electromagnetism,
We're not here to have a debate with you. We are
Okay.
here to throw you and ask
Okay.
you to research for yourself. Because what you think that you know, I'll assure you that you don't know. That you, I don't know. I'm
sure
going
you
to
can.
sound condescending, and I apologise. I'm sorry. Is that we've all been indoctrinated. We've all been given disinformation. We've never had proof on all of this. Never been given proof. We've been given great stories. Let's say Aristophanes. Let's throw that in for a fact. That's a great story.
Aristophanes?
About the circumference of the Earth and
Aristotle.
was measured with Aristophanes.
Aristophanes,
Not Aristophanes.
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 Right, okay.
With sticks and shadows. Okay. So what I'm saying is that another great story, but a prime example of the facts that we were given at school, and you cannot verify it. This guy didn't exist. There's no scientific evidence. There's nothing in the history books. There's no scrolls. There's no busks. There's no writings. There is nothing that suggests that this guy ever existed, and yet we were all given that information at school.
I've never heard of Aristophanes.
Oh, so you'd never heard about who was it proved? Was it the circumference of the Earth? You haven't heard about it?
The circumference of the Earth. You talking about Aristotle?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about Aristophanes.
I haven't heard of Aristotle.
Well, then shame on your school. I suggest you look into that one.
It's just telling me that what I'm saying has no evidence, but that electromagnetism means that lighter things float.
Okay.
Doesn't really.
Is
that's what I mean.
it possible that there's things that you just haven't learned and that
Oh,
you
yeah, of course,
believe?
but-
Because I find the most of science that it's just beliefs. You've got to have so much of this religious cult, of faith in scientism, that the fact that you've got no proof on so many different levels.
The thing is, if you actually look at it, there is, which is why this is quite difficult. Is because if you actually look at it, the proof is there, and physical proof as well. So none of this, I'm not sure that any of this has any experimental.
So let's look at this one. We mostly, if I turn around and said what is like number one, air proof of why you think that you're living on the globe, and I would say that most people say, I've seen pictures from space, photographs
not what
from
I would
space.
say.
Okay, but I just wanted to point this one out to you. That is on NASA.com's website. 1 year apart, 2012, 2013, same size radius, and then America shrunk. That's their photographs, but they're not photographs. If you look in the small print, on NASA's website it says that these are just all image composites.
Yeah.
That's all they are, just reams of data stitched together, put on the 3D blanks. We've got this guy here, and people like him are data visualizers, and then they puts the layering clouds. We've never seen a photograph of Earth.
No, yeah, but that doesn't bother me
Why
particularly.
not?
Well, because we also haven't seen a
How
stitched
many-
together
we
photograph of a
sent
flat Earth either.
550 astronauts in space, and we don't have a photograph, an actual photograph
Because
with
it's not
negatives
possible
and everything.
from the distance that they're at.
What?
It's not possible from the distance that they're at.
Okay.
Somebody tries to take a photo of your entire face from here.
Okay.
Wouldn't work, would it? You have to take multiple and stitch them together.
And then we sent how many people to the moon? Could they?
They're not far enough.
Can they not looked up?
They're not far enough away.
You don't think they're far enough away on the moon to take a picture?
No, not of the whole Earth, not like that.
And yet
they
they
could just
did.
get their phone out.
And yet they did.
They've taken lots of them and put them together.
And yet they did. They've got a supposed photograph, and I'll tell you what the photograph is. It's the photograph that you can see the whole landscape, and you can see Earth in the background. So you've got someone, he sat here, and he's taken this picture, you can see the whole Earth in the background, and then we messed around with the histogram, the light levels and all that, and then we noticed that it was all pasted in. Again, misinformation from
But again,
NASA.
you telling me you messed around with the lighting doesn't make me believe it. It's like, well,
Well,
you messed
no,
around with the
because
lighting.
I'm hoping that you would go away and say, look, the crazy man in the street says this, that, and the other, and you know what? I thought he was crazy, but I'm going to at least check out one or two items.
I have.
You
And I
have.
can't find any proof for it, that's the thing.
Okay.
I've seen the documentaries and stuff, and I can't find any proof. You're telling me there's no scientific proof for my ideas. I look up yours, and there's no scientific proof. They even tried it.
Right. Okay.
A lot of this, and I'm going back to this anyway. This is based on a. I don't understand.
I'm going to circulate with other people because I've come an awful long way. You've got your leaflet. There's a couple of websites. It's great talking to you. So I'm not going to waste my time too much. Right, would you like a leaflet there? There you go. So you got a leaflet. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just that I've come all the way from Devon. There you go, buddy.
I've already read one, mate.
Oh, you've got one, have you? And you've got. Oh, right. People are. Yeah, everyone's got one. Excellent. Sorry, Guy. I just feel as though I might be getting trolled a little bit. What we'll see. Sometimes you got to walk away and speak to other people and move on. Some will, some won't. So what next? Guy thinks all the stories are proof. Have you got a leaflet? Would you like one? Leaflet there? No, you okay?
Yeah,
there you go.
thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you. It's got a website on there. Have you got a leaflet? There you go. It's got a website on there.
That one is.
Oh, bloody hell. Someone who thinks he knows. So, yeah. There we go.
There's some stating things. What's the point of status?
Yeah, it's not a scam. It's a fantastic. I think might be a cheaper version or a free version or what. But it's got what's it? 21 questions. It's got loads of videos and updated videos. You watch some videos for about 2 weeks, and I'll tell you what, the crazy man in the street won't look like he's crazy. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
What's news from that generation?
How about this? It's a bit of a crowd. Is it? The society? I've never actually joined. Never joined them.
Society.
I've never joined them.
Not the Flat Earth Society.
Never joined them.
Flat Earth Society.
But I never joined them. I've been doing this for 3 years.
Sun and moon
Not anyone who's ever been
And they just like, do you know that Earth is flat?
Well,
They basically
Earth
just
Society,
spin on
I
top.
agree.
So when half the world
Flat
like the other
Earth
half
Society is bullshit.
It proves that when you see them satellites up there, on news.
Go on the internet and behind the satellites, you'll see cartoons.
Oh, yeah. You're one of them there that believes Jesus what's his name? No.
Do I?
Hey,
Very
no.
good. Very good.
Can I have a leaflet?
Of course you can.
Flat Earth Society.
I'm one of them.
I'm on there, I do. Like with a Jesus guy, alright.
By the way, religion didn't come into it.
Yeah, I want to talk about another thing.
Going round, eh? Space station.
A lot of time, I think they're just like yes.
So we've still got someone here, like he's still around telling the stories. See what? I don't know everything. If you ask, a scientist and they say, do you know everything about science? They don't. I just know what I know, and I don't know much about them.
They'd probably be able to tell me how a solar eclipse works there.
I mean, I know what the
But
mainstream science is. I tell you what,
if that's the Earth, right? How do we get solar
It's an
eclipse?
example of how close that we think the sun and the moon is. It's just an example.
Wait, so could we walk off the
We
Earth?
don't know what it is that we're on. We haven't got a clue.
Could we walk
So
off
could you
the
go
Earth?
to the edge?
That's mainstream media programming.
Yeah,
I
but
say,
if it's
I've
flat-
never, in 3 years, never met a flat earther that actually says there is an edge. Never met one. So
where does it end?
Wait, where does it end then?
I really don't know. It's just like what's it? The infinite of space. Okay, ever expanding infinite space. We accept that. We've got no evidence, no proof to that. It's just some
Go
story.
to space.
How can we verify that? Could you verify that?
People have gone to space.
Well, so they say, but we can't verify that, can we?
You can
There's
literally
like
watch a rocket
yeah.
take off and go.
I know. I've seen loads of YouTube clips. You see the rocket going up.
But
you see
people
it
have
going out
watched
the
it in
distance,
person.
and then you see it come back down. You
Where
watch
does
all the footage on that. You'll see that rocket come back down with flames and everything every time.
Why does no one ever see it land? And they don't have landing
Did you
gear to
know
land back
when
on Earth.
NASA was built, okay, and they sent off the first rocket and all that? So does all the, and check this out yourself, so does all the Bermuda Triangle, all the mysteries, like things go missing. That was that story was invented exactly the
So
same
you're
time.
saying every
I
single
don't
rocket
know.
that's gone off into space
might go
is
into
almost
Bermuda
like
Triangle.
the Bermuda
But I mean,
Triangle.
obviously there's other space stations and such things, and they'll have their own ways.
Right.
See the way I enjoy it. See the way I. Say that again.
I said this is why I enjoy it.
Very good.
Excuse me, are you live streaming?
I am live streaming.
How are you live streaming if there's no satellites?
So do you think that your phones go straight to a satellite? They
Hang
don't go
on,
to cell
that's
towers?
how...
Do they not go to cell towers? Have you not seen? Look, in your town now, have you ever seen a cell tower? What do you think they're there for? Cell towers?
Yeah, I have
So
actually.
your
There's
phone,
quite
your
a few,
information.
yeah,
is
there's
it
quite
just
a few
goes to
uphills,
cell
bro.
towers?
Yeah, quite a few uphills, bro.
Most people, they think they just go straight up there.
But so you think it bounces across?
Say what?
You think the information bounces across
98%, and I'm throwing
towers?
the figure out here, but you can check it out yourself. 98% of all communications is undersea submersible cables.
So
that
if
run
I phone
from country
Africa,
to
you
country.
think this mobile phone goes through
And
a
will
submersible
you agree with that?
undersea wire?
What most communications and all that are undersea cables from country to country, and then we don't really use.
It's mobile.
It is. I mean, so. But
What about
no.
Einstein's theory of relativity?
Say what?
What about Einstein's theory of relativity?
Theory of relativity, the concept, the mathematical concept that cannot be proven. That's what I think of it. Somebody's story again.
What about Isaac Newton, the athlete?
Okay, again, that got superseded by Albert Einstein's theory of
But if you're
relativity.
saying it can't be proven,
And what about Isaac Newton,
Yeah,
apple?
it got superseded.
Again, it
Basically, what we're meant to believe, what we're meant to believe right now is that if I thought that it was it's rock because of the bending of time and space. It's nonsense. It's just a mathematical concept. It's nonsense. I want you to at least check out that.
Hey, what about this
American
space
German scientist? I can't think of his name.
Hey, what about this space station?
Okay, well, the International Space Station, how could it possibly be there in space with them sort of temperatures? 2,000 degrees Celsius it gets up there. Aluminium and titanium melt between 660, 1,670 with radiative heat.
And what
There is
about,
no-
what about all these radio satellites?
Say that again? It's not though, is it? That's according to Science.com and NASA on NASA's website. I didn't make them figures up.
That's
That's their
based on the
figures.
energy in the particles that are up there, but there's so few particles.
Again, these are
You'll
kind
never.
of stories that you can't verify.
I
Into
can't.
space. No, I know, but science can.
personal, eh?
Science can.
I got
Yeah,
Science
who's
actually
science?
can, though.
But who's science? When I speak about this
thousands,
and I ask
the
for
hundreds of
citations, it just falls
your
apart.
average person on the street doesn't have the citations, but if you go onto a scientific database, you will find them.
Again, I'm not trying to. It always seems I'm trying to win and score points and all. I just ask you to go home and then just research that point.
Obviously I do.
know,
and I have.
Because that we should be.
I am a
We should
scientist.
question. You're a scientist.
Yes, I work in biology.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But it's the same.
As far
It's
as
the
I'm
same.
concerned,
It's
that
the same
is a
concept.
science.
Yeah, but it's the same
Not
concept.
all of these
You use the same-
astrophysics and all that, and these mathematical
No, they are, 'cause
concepts,
they're all
and people
based on the
saying
same-
that there's black holes that you can't prove that there is no black holes.
Again, you can.
You can't.
Well, you can tell me that they can't.
Yeah.
But again, if you look at the literature and the
Did you-
wider
and
scientific community,
Did you
it's
see?
proven.
Did you see how they found that latest one? You know, like, and she shows the same imagery that she's been showing everyone for the last 5 years.
Right. What about it?
Well, she's been showing everyone this
Yeah.
black hole for the last 5 years, and then all of a sudden she puts a black hole there, and she puts a number to that one, a number to that one, number to that one, and then when this number comes back, she turned around and said, "Oh yeah, that's what it looks like." And she had no.
She had to stitch
evidence
them together.
that They weren't even photographs. So I mean, like,
so
so
because
well,
they can't be detected by
they
photos.
They weren't even images.
No,
they were
they're
just
not.
selected.
That's because the way that you detect them by other radiation that isn't light.
Yeah.
It's just that's the way you have to detect them
And it's
scientifically.
funny, it looked exactly the same as their artistic renditions. It looked identical.
It's because they have to build
Again,
it from
imagination. Just
it's not
stories again.
imagination. They have to
And
build
you
it up
believe
using
in
lots of
it.
other data.
You believe in it. It's just a story.
Because if you read it,
No
there's
proof.
the proof there.
I watched the video of that young girl explaining it all.
Yeah.
How she actually.
Yeah.
It seemed a
Because the
bit
reality
silly.
is that the data is so big, and the way that you detect it is not something you can't just take a photo of a black hole. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
But we know that It's understood how you take an image, and that's how they're taking the image using other data.
She could have put a pig there, a car there, a castle there, a donkey there, and then she attached a number to each one, and it says, oh yeah, black holes look like donkeys. There you go. It's a silly idea.
I don't understand
Is it as silly as... Have you got any pictures of this ice wall?
I never said there was an ice wall.
What is that?
Is that not a picture of the ice wall there?
I know the way ice walls work. I know the way shoreline.
That's a picture of the ice wall.
I know the way shore. I'm not here to score points. I'm not here.
Score points. I'm just asking you a simple question.
I'm trying to answer you, for God's sake. I'm just trying to get it
No,
out.
you're not. You're interrupting me.
Well, then,
Just there. There's an ice wall. Picture an ice wall that you're using.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So have you got an actual photograph of that ice wall?
Okay. No, never been to Antarctica.
No. So
Never been to Antarctica.
So we've never been into space.
Can I speak now, please? There is an Antarctic treaty in place signed by 58 countries in 1953.
Right.
Okay? It prevents me and you, this is control, it prevents us from going there. You're not allowed to take fuel there, you're not allowed to go, go down there whatsoever. Okay? If you go online, there's a website there on that leaf for FE Start, you'll see a video there called Antarctica, sorry, we're closed. You are not going to Antarctica in your lifetime. You are not going. I know the way a shoreline works. I know that water, stays level and flat, and I know it's not going to creep up. I'm pretty dry here, unless it rains. So that's the way a shoreline works. We know the way beaches work. So there is ice walls down there. There is a shoreline. I'm not saying for a second that there is, an ice wall going right the way around it. I'm not saying that for a second.
So does the water just fall off then if they're in an ice wall
Again,
all
that's
around us?
programming. That's the media programming.
It's not media programming,
Well, I'll tell you why it is. Because in 3 years of known globe deniers and flat earthers, I have never met one that's ever suggested that there is an edge. Never met one. Okay, so that's media programming. That's all that
carries
is.
on then. Just carry on then.
Well, we believe the infinite of space and ever-expanding space carries on infinitely forever. That's accepted by so much science with no evidence whatsoever. We accept that and we believe that. It has to be a belief. It's faith. It's dogma. It's scientism. Yeah, we accept that. We believe it. Yeah, you can round the continent. You can just go east and west round the continent.
What happened if you travelled this way then?
Again, I don't know if it goes any further. I don't know. I've never been there. I know there's an Antarctic treaty. Look, we've been at war with so many countries, and it's the only treaty that has ever stayed in existence today, and that everybody's still comfortable and happy. Just to
inhospitable place, Antarctica.
So they say. Why has no one ever gone, all the expeditions and all that, why has no one ever circumnavigated north to south and gone round? Who is that? Because I know one or two that suggest that they've been to the South Pole, and then if you look at their route, they go to the South Pole and then they do a left turn. No one has ever gone right the way around, north to south, ever.
No,
and you could name someone.
Personally, my Uncle Fred did it for years.
I haven't come across no one. It's just another story.
I've heard you say that.
That's what I'm saying. You just carry on to Everworld or whatever it is on Minecraft.
I can't understand why you could.
Well, he just asked about the constants. It's purely to just to explain how seasons would work, explain north, south, east, west.
But if you don't believe that map,
I don't.
Right, so I can't understand why you've got it up.
Did I not just say that? Do you want me to repeat it? To explain how seasons work,
Well, we know
how
how
north and
seasons
south,
work.
and east and west works. That's all it is.
It's a Guinness World Record, by the way.
And who was that?
Ranulph Fiennes himself.
Right, check out his route. No, he didn't. He did. I mean, look. No. Check it honestly. I want you to go and just check it out.
How's his route here?
So you've got his route, okay?
Yes, it's got his route.
And he went, let's say, right in a straight line, right the way over, or did he just go to the South Pole and do a left turn like everybody else does?
Unless we're going to claim that he lied, he went straight over.
Yeah.
Did everyone like that? Just less on that. Has anyone gone straight up and taken a photo of the ice wall?
Look, I'll throw something else in there as well. Okay, the 24-hour sun in the north. You can see a 24-hour sun in the north. Okay, and there's so much video evidence of that. There's tons of it. Okay, and yet we've got no evidence of the 24-hour sun in the south. All what we do have is 24-hour daylight, but there's no sun. Of all the scientists and all the military people that have all been down there, why isn't there abundance? I think it's a fantastic thing. If I went there, I would see that. Again, I've seen videos of that so-called evidence, and you see a flag there, and then you see shadows come round, and then it stops there, and then it jumps, and then the shadow will start there again.
If the Earth was flat,
It's nonsense.
Jason, I've seen that video.
Yes.
And I think you're cherry picking. Because I have, there is a video.
When you say
there
cherry
is a
picking,
video.
I mean like I'm just talking. I mean like
There is a video of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and I watched it. Yeah. Well, they say it's from the south.
Going to have more carbs.
Yeah, and I know it's difficult because it could be anywhere, but like, and I'm not
There is
suggesting that for a second.
evidence if you choose to accept it. Now,
Is the moon flat or round?
It looks sphere to me. It's not round, but it looks sphere. But
You only see one side of it.
But I'm not suggesting for a second that all the planets and all the stars are the same heavenly bodies. I'm not saying that, and therefore Earth isn't the same heavenly body as what's up there. We're not a planet. We're not a planet.
Is Mars a globe?
See what?
Is Mars a globe? Because you can see it because they spin, so you can see.
I know. I know. You've done that. I mean, I have.
you can actually see it with a telescope. You can actually see it.
You can look at the telescope.
That's what I just said. I said that.
You can look at the telescope and you can see that it transitions
We've got
around.
supposed stars. We've got. They're not the same, are they? Stars. Telescopes are they not the same?
No, they're different.
No, and that's what I'm saying. We're not a planet. We don't have to be a planet.
Oh no, but we're made of the same
Look,
materials.
let's throw on this one. Let's throw this. This is the biggest reason why I am a globe denier. Not a flat earther. I'm a globe denier. I do not believe in the globe. I think the Earth is observably flat. This is okay. This is all land. You go find satellites in space. I mean, like, all you see is animations, don't you? You just see. You go on Google now and type.
Well, you
in
can see it. The ISS go over.
You see something. You can't prove what it is.
Oh, well, what
You're
else
right.
is
You
it?
don't have superhuman eyes that you can
No, but
actually
if
see
you
that
had
there's
a
something up there. It
telescope,
could be
you could
anything.
literally see it.
It could be anything up
What do
there.
you think it might be then?
Absolutely. I don't know. I'm the foggiest.
You know, I'm
not going to bullshit with stuff I don't know. That's right. You know, like, look, this is land that you're not meant to see. Okay. This was in the Blackpool Gazette. Okay. And it was in on the promenade.
We've all seen things in
on a
Blackpool
good
you're not meant to see, though.
clear day. You can see all this land in the distance. That's 65 miles away. The highest mountain is 2,000 feet. Okay, and 2,500 feet is meant to be hidden.
So if you're looking out from Blackpool, where's that meant to be?
See what?
If you're looking out from Blackpool, are you suggesting that's
the Isle of Man.
Isle of Man.
That's the Isle of Man. Okay. This is Dover to Calais. Okay. Based on curvature calculator, I don't know if you looked at the curvature. You're a scientist. Have you looked at the curvature calculator?
Well, I can see it. Yeah.
And you're happy with the figures like Pythagorean's theorem, spherical trigonometry?
I'm not going to work them out.
Yes.
No. But yeah, kind of.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
There is a bit of a discrepancy when you get over so many miles.
No,
There's
it's
a bit of
fine,
a
yeah.
discrepancy. But right at the beginning, right, look. So this is Dover to Calais, and after 300 feet it should be missing based on 25 miles. Okay, 300 feet. The highest peak is 350 feet. But when you're at Calais, you can see the entire whiteness of Dover. This is a longest distance photograph, 273 miles away. You can still see land in the distance. 3 miles should be hidden. If I had an Argos catalogue and enough money, I could print you thousands of these images that you can see, photographs. Not images. I could print you loads of them. Even Tenerife, you can see all of these land, like that you shouldn't be able to see. You go to, is it Gibraltar or something? You can see Morocco and all that in the distance. You're not meant to see all of these places, but you can, based on.
Have you seen the cliffs? Have you seen them yourself?
Oh yeah, I've seen the cliffs, but more
Calais.
importantly, I have a place called in Brixham in Devon. I stand on the pier. It's about so far up. I stand on there. I can see. I think it's about 17 miles away, Exmouth in the distance. I can see people on the beach. And based on the maths and all that, they're meant to be 40, 50 feet below the curvature. But I can see people on the beach. You're not meant to be seeing all of this land.
You know there is a reason why you can see things.
Please don't say it's so big. We're talking.
There is a reason, though, isn't there? Well, you've been researching
I
for
have.
3 years. So
Okay.
what is the reason why we can see things that, in theory, we shouldn't be able to see?
Well, I've heard that people say that these mountains, 3 miles, should be hidden, and that refraction is lifting these mountains up so high. No, I don't believe that for a second.
Refraction
3
is
miles
a thing,
high.
though. Do you agree refraction is a thing?
Oh yeah. I expect, yeah, definitely. But refraction mostly works downwards.
No, it
doesn't
doesn't.
Well,
No, it lifts things
will
up.
it do it 3 miles high? Do you all accept that? Would it do it 3 miles high?
Well, I would have to sit down and work it out.
No,
I'm
that's
not
fair
saying
enough.
it
That's
would.
fair enough because it's just a
But
man
there's
on the street.
definitely things you can see that you shouldn't be able to see.
Okay.
And refraction is
It's funny
just
that
not a
this
constant
refraction
thing.
is identical every time that we.
It's not always identical.
And every time that we.
I've been on the ferry from Dover to Calais, and I've
sometimes,
seen.
and sometimes you've not been able to see.
No, yeah.
Right.
While
I
I've been
don't
on
know.
the ferry,
Every
the
time I've
cliffs
been
have
there.
gone.
It depends on the atmosphere, because it's how the light bends through the atmosphere.
Okay.
So if the atmosphere changes,
Well, we've
you'll
been
have
doing
different
these tests for a long time now. You know, like we've been to what's it, Lake Ballamore? Is it Ballamore, Ballator, or something? And we've done lasers 40 miles away in that, and again there is no sign of curvature. Even I tell you what, National Geographic, they did this this episode, and they had a boat out there. They sent a boat out there, had a big wavy, a big flag, you know, like or painted lines and that big flag. They sent it out, and then they go, oh yeah, look at that. You know, like you can see all the bottom lines they're missing due to the curvature of the Earth, and they sell that to everybody. And then what they don't actually tell anyone on that show is that there's lots. You can see all this water way behind them in the distance. You know, like, and so therefore it wasn't. It was just to do with angular resolution and compression. Another thing that isn't taught, you know, like to people in school.
Angular resolution.
Well, yeah, so you've got compression, you know, obviously you've got, the air density and all that. It's meant to be thinner up there, and as you come down and down and down, that compression gets more. So things in the distance, they get squished. And then the higher
Why
that
do
you
they
go...
get squished?
Sorry?
Why do they get squished?
Because of, compression of the...
But why is that?
Oh, God, I can't even think of my names.
It's got to be density.
Well,
Yeah.
It might be, but
Because
things do
gravity.
get squished, you know, like the lower
They
they
do,
are,
well,
and then things are
They get under pressure.
they get distorted or something, you know, like I forget. But the higher that you go, your angular resolution opens up, and then and things are actually just get.
The thing is that is reliant upon believing in gravity.
Sorry,
That's reliant upon believing in gravity.
how?
Because
That
the reason
story
why
again, that magic Harry
but
Potter.
the reason why things are considered to increase in density is because of
Well,
gravity.
because I want the proof, and you should all be demanding the proof. Where is this proof that
There's
gravity exists?
a guy doing the Cavendish experiment in his bedroom. I think it's in
Well, it was in the kitchen
South
and it was
Korea.
out in the bar. Oh, you mean, sorry, there's a guy doing that
There's a
experiment.
guy
Okay.
doing it now, and he's had it set up in his bedroom. He's there on his own. He's got a spare bedroom.
Yeah.
He's into all this stuff. They set the
They
experiment
teach
up.
this in university.
Yes, they do.
It fails every time.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It really does.
He's doing it in his bedroom. You can look at it online. BM Furball, I think his name is.
Okay.
He's doing it in his bedroom, and when he moves the big weights closer to the small ones react.
And yet we can't seem to replicate
And he can,
that.
you can, Jason.
In
Okay,
science,
you say you can. Have you
can.
ever replicated that?
No, why
And,
would I?
could you? I mean, we've got scientists that are trying to replicate this. We've got like FE Core. I don't know if you've come across FECore.org.
Yes.
If you go on there and you'll see that we're trying these experimentations now.
And there's nobody in FE Core that's not a flat earther.
Okay.
So they have an agenda.
I don't know that, but you might be right.
They're-
And can I just let you know, I am not a flat earther. I am a globe denier. I don't know if this Earth is flat or
That's
what.
okay. That's fair enough. That's a fair comment.
The leaflets.
But it's something else to throw in there. Okay. This is Walter Lewin. He says, and I'll throw in gravity because it's just what he says. He says that gravity has no effect on the gyroscope as it's rigid in space.
No, it
That's
won't.
what Walter Lewin
I
says.
agree.
Okay. Well, some people say that gravity does have effect, so I put that on there just to make a point. These are artificial horizon, okay, on aeroplanes. They work off gyroscopes. If an aeroplane ascends, and you can see that ascending, and then it flies across level, let's say from here to all the way to Australia, and then it descends. But that gyroscope, it should invert. That gyroscope, it's gone over a ball, a rigid in space gyroscope that is not affected by gravity, and it should invert. Now I'll tell you what, this phone has a thing on here called a MEMS device, okay? And it works off inertia, and it's really sensitive. Now, if I put a bubble here, and if I just tip it like that, I can see that bubble invert, okay? So if I put that bubble, and I put it like that, and people have done it, they go onto an aeroplane, or even with a level as well, they go onto an aeroplane, they fly along this, and that, and they don't see that bubble invert or anything, they don't see anything. This is on my MEMS device.
But it shouldn't do.
We shouldn't do with gravity.
Okay, well I thought that, so I went home, did my own experiment, and I put, do you know what a 24-hour timer would be for a plug socket? I put a plug on there, and I built it at Cradle, and over 12 hours I kind of watched this go right the way right round, and I filmed it and I watched my bubble invert to my phone over. It's really sensitive. I could see it invert. How would this know the difference between a plane and my lounge?
Because that's not moving, that's just rotating. When you're going over land, if you spin your phone, it's going to pick up that you turn.
That's right. That's right.
If you're flying
Okay.
over a big curve,
Well, I did it over
the
24
curve.
hours. Sorry, I did it
Doesn't
over 12
matter.
hours.
Doesn't matter.
How would it know the difference?
This is what I can't understand, why you can't get your
Because
head around it.
because I did my own experimentation. I didn't just believe and buy into all this magic.
Your
Harry Potter rubbish.
experiment doesn't
I did my own
represent,
experimentation.
doesn't represent what's going on in the plane. What we're saying, that's what he's saying, is that your experiment doesn't represent what's going on in the plane at all.
How
So
would
just
know?
turn it upside down.
Okay.
Isn't what happens to the bubble in the plane if you were to do it.
So how so? You'll have
Because
to explain
that is
one.
that.
So if I take this in my lounge, okay, so just this, I'll
Yeah.
turn off all the Wi-Fi and anything, and over a 24-hour period, 12-hour period, I can see and film that inverting, and
explain.
put the same one in an aeroplane. You think it would
So
react differently?
yes, I do. So if we believe
Why?
that the gravity is here, okay.
We just said that
No,
gravity's got no
yeah,
say in
but
it.
if we
No,
do,
we
we're
haven't discussed
talking
gravity
about
yet.
this, right?
We'll
Your
go back to
phone,
gravity.
your phone
Okay.
is moving relative to a stationary bit of gravity. So if we believe it draws downwards, then of course it's going to move downwards relative to the gravity, isn't it? But the plane travels.
So you just said relative. No, I don't accept that. You just said the relative to the gravity. But I'm saying that gravity
As
is
in
just
the force.
a Harry Potter magic.
Yeah, I know,
trick
but that's
that,
what
that you
I
believe
know.
with no proof.
But what you're saying is, you're saying that you're disproving gravity.
No, I want proof. I'm not disproving it.
Okay.
I'm an adult.
Unfortunately,
I should be able to ask questions and demand.
Unfortunately, what you did proves it. Because if I'm pulling you this way, if you turn round, you then go backwards, wouldn't you? Yeah. But if at every single point I was pulling you and you went around me, you'd stay facing me. So that's why what you're doing isn't representative. As in, I'm the force pulling you.
Right.
If you turn around, then you will come towards me backwards.
Okay, so we're talking
So
about.
talk about the force. As in, I'm pulling you.
Right, hang on.
So
You're
if
saying-
you turn
you're
around-
saying the force. So we're talking about centripetal force.
No. If I'm just pulling you, so I'm just talking.
Yeah, I know, but you just said that we were spinning around
Yeah,
as well. So
I know.
we're talking about
So,
centripetal force.
no, that's not centripetal force at all.
Well, is it not?
No, it's not. If I'm pulling you, so if the
Get a bucket of water and spin it round.
no,
Centripetal
that
force?
is, but we're not talking about that right now.
So you've got me. You're pulling me, and then we're turning round.
So to start with, if I pull you straight towards me, you'll come towards me, yeah?
Okay.
If you turn around and I pull you, where will you go?
Sorry. Sit up.
If you turn around and face that way, and I pull you from the same direction, which way will you go?
I'll still come to you.
Yeah, right. Despite the fact you're facing that way.
Okay. That's,
Yeah.
that's a good-
So that's what you've done with your phone.
right.
So now
no,
I'm
you're saying that's what I don't accept that. How have I done that? Why are
Okay.
you matching the two together?
So next step. Okay, next step.
Right.
If again, you're the plane.
Okay.
So when I turn like this, you face me.
Yeah.
And
I
I
know
pull
you're trying
you
to reconcile
at
something
every
in your
si-
head, but I don't think it's right.
If I pull you, will you come towards me or will you go that way?
I'll come towards you if you pull
Right.
me, of course.
And will you turn around?
But that depends on which side.
So if I just pull you from the front,
no, I'm not
and at
gonna
every
turn
point that
round.
we
No,
turn,
I
you'll
will
come
not.
towards me, won't you?
Right. Okay.
So in a plane, when the force is constantly going down, like we believe, because there's gravity,
Okay.
then it would
Well, I mean,
stay.
I know what's centre of gravity. I mean, like,
yeah.
but I don't accept it.
So
There's no proof to
what
it.
I'm trying to say to you is that you coming towards me whilst we turn round is not the same as you coming towards me when you've turned round. They're different things, aren't they? Right. So what you've done
I'm not sure why
is
you
you've
can-
turned your gyroscope round in a stationary place, whereas a plane travels round a globe. So it's a very, very different thing.
I'm trying to show you that how sensitive this is, this MEMS device, and that over a
But it's not going
12-hour
around the Earth, is it?
period that goes round, that I can see how sensitive this is.
have to do with it?
Jason,
Sorry?
it doesn't matter.
Nothing to do with whatsoever, unless I was trying to throw in there and turn around and said that the same sort of timescale from here to Australia. That's it.
No, you don't.
Because
get
if,
it.
I don't think you really
look,
understand
if we're going to Australia, okay? As I said, it ascends, it flies level, it descends. It goes all the way around. It has to keep dipping its nose, dipping its nose,
No, it
dipping its nose.
doesn't.
Yes, it
No, it
does.
doesn't,
Why do you say
Jason.
it doesn't? Of course it does. It's
When
a
plane's-
ball. We live on a ball.
Yes,
it has
doesn't
to
need
dip its
no,
nose.
It doesn't, Jason.
Okay.
If it
When you
stays
say
the
it doesn't, how?
when a plane's flying at altitude
Okay.
on a level flight, the engine power in the plane is balanced by the lift from the wings.
Okay.
And it will stay at that altitude. It will stay at that height above the Earth. Now, if the Earth's curving, it will stay at that height. It doesn't have to bend down, doesn't have to do anything. No, it doesn't.
Going around the ball. You're saying that. You're just throwing
No,
words out.
rub it. No, sorry,
And,
no.
And after 5 miles,
No.
or so, it's heading upwards, up into space.
If you swing a ball on a
because
string,
because it's a ball.
if you swing a ball on a string,
you
does
do.
the ball repeatedly go down?
Guys.
This is why you've done research for 3 years and you still don't understand it.
I don't
Because you
understand
you can't get your head around
because
it.
people keep throwing in stories and bullshit.
I'm sure
That
there
you
are
can't-
bullshit.
that you-
I'm
that
sure
you
there are
can't make any
stories.
one of these understand what it is that you're saying. You can't.
What? Can't make you understand.
Well, no, I don't. Because I don't buy into the belief system that you
It's
were
not a
given.
belief system.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because you've got no scientific citation that you can show that gravity that works. Nothing.
Right, let me
just
give you an
got
example,
stories
right,
and
of
fancy
belief
com-
systems.
I mean,
hang on, please, let me.
Magic Harry Potter.
I know where milk comes from,
You know where milk? Okay.
because I've seen cows being milked.
Okay,
I've
that's
seen the
fair
milk come out.
Yes.
I've never seen butter being made from milk. Now, is that a belief system? No, come on, be fair. Is that a belief system?
I would imagine it still has to be a belief system based on.
Right.
what
So
you
should
know.
I disbelieve butter comes from cow's milk?
See what? Should you disbelieve?
Should I
it?
disbelieve it?
Okay.
Should I?
Okay. Well, no, I wouldn't have thought. That's okay.
Right.
That's fine.
So there's some things you can believe without actually seeing it for yourself.
But your whole education is that belief system, isn't it? That
No,
whole
it's education.
Really?
You've just said it. It's education.
Is that
Teachers are
indoctrination?
no.
Is that belief system? With
You can call it what you like,
You're an
but-
adult. You should be demanding proof, evidence.
I don't need proof. I've seen it.
Well, there you go. See, I don't accept that.
Well, that's fine.
Because, well, there you go. So we're at the difference, and that's it.
Right.
Have you ever flown anywhere?
Say that again.
Have you been out of the country? Have you ever flown anywhere on a plane?
I have. Come on, what
Yeah.
are you going to say?
So
You can
have
see
you
the
have you
curvature?
felt the plane go like that every now and then?
I've felt it drop out the sky. Yeah. Yeah. Earth's pockets. Yeah. I think we've all felt that.
Yeah. But have you felt the nose dip when you've got a bit further round?
I'm not sure.
That's what you're saying.
No, but that's what it should. If we live on the ball, do we live on the ball?
Yeah.
Well, I'm suggesting that that plane has to be dipping its nose. These guys disagree. They're only disagreeing. They've got no evidence or proof to prove that it is a disagreement.
Well, how are you on the ground if gravity doesn't exist then? Is the Earth constantly accelerating upwards faster and faster constantly to keep you on the ground?
Who says that?
Well, how would you stay on the ground?
Relative density. Like helium balloons go up, you're heavier than the air around it. You go down. What's the problem?
And why would that? Why is the air held?
What was the problem with that?
Why is the air held to the Earth then? What holds the air to the Earth?
What holds the Earth to the air?
Yeah.
Air to the Earth.
Okay. Is
Because
it-
the air wouldn't be here without
Is it-
gravity.
Is
would
it? You say that, but what is that magic Harry Potter gravity?
Well,
Where
so you're
is
saying
it?
there's a wall around the Earth that keeps the
How
air in?
did we get to a wall?
So
we went from air, we went straight to a
Okay,
wall.
okay. So gravity
Okay.
is detected.
So what?
It is detected, as in there are ways of detecting gravity.
You
But
say
what you're
this.
no. As
What
in,
are-
okay,
what are
okay,
these
okay.
ways?
Unless we're going to deny that
what are these
there are
ways?
instruments, and it's also it has been shown that there are particles responsible.
You know what they're
responsible
saying
for
now?
gravity.
That we've got now clouds, that gravity waves on Earth now. We've got clouds that prove it. That's what they're saying now. That's the latest science.
Right. Okay. Anyway,
That's nonsense.
So
There is no proof.
Okay. So the general belief from this side is that there are particles responsible for gravity. What is it? What is the science behind why you think this happens? So conventional science that you believe is being false has an actual description of what happens. It has discovered particles, and it can show
A
them.
great story again.
Yeah, okay, you can call it a story, but
Well,
whatever.
it is a story.
Yeah, fine.
I'm
Okay,
asking
so
for the evidence.
what's your evidence?
No,
What-
I'm asking for
okay,
the proof. It's
so-
me
so
that's
what-
asking.
okay,
I'm an adult and I'm
fine,
demanding
fine,
evidence.
fine.
I'm not trying to throw you a fancy story
fine,
and say that I know everything. I
so-
don't know everything. I want
Yeah,
proof.
so conventional science has the proof you can look for if you
Then
accept it.
show me a citation to it. I mean, these guys. You should
That's
be
fair enough,
allowed
that's
to
fair
ask
enough.
this question.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
I
So if
want
you
the
ask
proof.
and you can find it, you can
Really?
find it. Yes.
After 3 years and I still can't find the proof.
But what I'm trying to get at is there is a description here.
Yeah.
What is your description for why heavier things stay at the bottom and other things don't?
I do have, but yeah, I'm not going to play this game to you because I know what you're
Well,
trying.
what
I
is
know
it?
what you're trying to do, and we've already had that conversation.
No, yeah,
haven't
but
we?
what is it then?
Have we had that conversation?
Yeah, and what you
Right,
said
so
made
you're
no
just trying to
sense.
play
What you
games.
said made
Just
no
trying to play
sense.
games. I'm not going to fall for
Because
your
you said
tricks.
that
You're
electric-
here right now to troll me. Right now, did we have that conversation?
Yeah.
Right. So you know what? There you go. You're trying to
Electromagnetism.
score points, and because your ego is so fantastic, and you want to show everyone here that I know something that these don't know. All I'm asking for is proof, is evidence. I should be allowed to ask for proof.
And if you find proof
and
that
you're a scientist, and you still can't give all of these people proof.
And if you find that electromagnetism keeps dense things down,
I just need to understand it a little bit more. That's
Well,
probably.
you persuaded us.
I need to understand it a little
Right.
bit more.
Okay. Because if you know what electromagnetism is, you know that light is electromagnetism. Okay. You know that infrared is electromagnetism.
Oh, we'll have to look into that.
I don't know what it has to do with density.
You don't know.
What electromagnetism has to do with density and keeping
Well,
things
because
clear.
there has to be a reason why things go into a particular direction.
Correct.
Okay, but there is the other side of it. Is that let's say, well, why isn't everything all going to the left? Okay.
Because we believe in forces.
Well, then the ground would be to the left, and then everything else would be to the left, and then that would be the new down, wouldn't it? Would it not?
Well, no, because the reason that we think it is because there's a sphere with gravity.
Right. Okay.
But with your
again,
system,
with the thing that you can't prove.
okay, fine.
I don't know why you are so readily to accept that.
No, it's not readily accepting. It's hundreds of years of scientific.
Hundreds of years of science. So who was that?
Just lots and lots of scientists. Like you can't just name one. There's
Well,
literally-
one would be a start, would it not?
well, Newton obviously.
Newton.
But then, like,
Okay. Again, the mathematical concept thing.
Yeah, which can be proven. In the lab.
Which you say because of the Cavendish experiments, the fact that it just.
Yeah, and it wasn't just carried out once in the 1700s. That's carried out repeatedly.
Oh, well, I imagine so. But like, I'm probably cherry picking on that because that's what's in all the textbooks.
Well, yeah, that's the first example.
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, I've seen teachers try to do this demonstration on YouTube. I've seen teachers try to do this, and they fail miserably. I know you say you've got someone that you know that. Could you name them again so I could have a look?
BM Furball.
BM Furball.
BM Furball.
I will look into that. I'll have a look at that.
Okay, do it's interesting.
No. I'm not. Again, I'm. It's a difficult subject. I'm not trying to score points. Not trying to. But like.
No, but here, trying to tell everybody.
I think that
they're
this is a
being
great
lied
subject
to.
that everybody should be researching. Everybody
Telling
should be
everybody
looking
they're
into
being lied to.
it. Our education, yes.
I don't think you're right.
You don't think that? Again, I'll throw in there. You're being lied to. Your governments, your education,
Possibly.
science. I do.
Now and again?
I think that sorry.
Now and again.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah. Who knows? The only thing I know is I started watching this stuff when it first came out.
Okay.
I watched all the Globebusters, I watched Eric the Bays. And I am open-minded because there's lots of things that you never think about. And when they've come up, like seeing things that you shouldn't see, I've looked into it. And for every one of these proofs, there's a debunk for it.
Yeah, I've seen some debunks, but
But they don't convince
But the
you.
other way as well, it does go the other way as well. It's just that I don't know if you've looked now. It's getting more censored, heavily censored now.
Yes, because
So,
it's
I mean, like-
classed as disinformation.
Oh, bloody hell, we've had how many alien videos all
I know,
these years
yeah.
of monsters
And
and
obviously
vampires, and that's all okay.
I'm not
and-
saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. This gravity thing just...
It doesn't
I
sit
do
right
not-
with you?
I do not understand
I just
why
want the
Earth's
proof.
flat.
And I'm not happy with that. I want that demonstrated to me. And I will not rest until I've seen that demonstrated to me, and then maybe I'll accept it. I'd like to see that it's done in such a way that maybe static electricity is not involved or anything. Maybe not with lead balls or anything. There's
You've said you'd have
static
a
on
look at it,
things.
so
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be, I'll be happy if I kind of see
Can't
that.
even cough in the same room as one of these.
And I don't know whether it would be concrete or big, heavy wooden objects. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure that one out when we get to it. But one day I'll do that.
I need a coffee. Do you want one?
Sorry.
I'm going for a coffee. Would you like
Yeah, made one.
what sort of coffee?
Just a black Americano, no sugar. Thank you very much. There you go.
Do you think the rest of the planets are flat as well? Or just...
I don't.
Why would they be round and this be flat then?
Well, yeah, but I don't think that we're a planet. Like I don't know, like a pool table, a snooker table, and all that. I don't think that the table necessarily. If we're Earth, we're the table. And there's heavenly bodies. I don't think that all the stars are the same as the planets, the wandering stars. You know, like I don't believe that they're the same. I don't believe that we're a planet.
Yeah. Do you actually believe that the world is flat and stationary? And what proof do you have for that?
It's observably flat. It's observably flat. I don't know if it's flat. I am a globe denier. I've been looking and researching for evidence that we live on a globe.
Yes.
And I'm finding that increasingly more difficult to find that evidence.
So all the evidence given that the Earth is flat, that the Earth is spherical in shape, that the circumnavigation, the shipping, the pictures taken from spaces.
Well, that's the thing. The pictures are images, they're not photographs. If you go on NASA, it actually says that these are composites, these images. They don't even want to see the photographs. But NASA says these images are composite. Basically, just realms of data. They stick them all together. They put them around a blank 3D sphere, and then present them to you and say, "Look, that's Robert Sims over there. He's a data visualizer, and he creates. He created the one for the iPhone. You know, when one of the first iPhones that come out. And there's people like him, and they put layering of clouds and things and that. And we've shown it all to be all fake. Every photograph that you've ever seen, you have never seen an actual photograph. There is not a negative of a photograph in existence to prove that you live on a globe Earth.
So prove like the circumnavigation of the Earth, leaving the Earth and going straight and coming back to the original position in which you left. Yeah. Is that not enough proof that
No,
you are
I
going
know what you're
wrong?
saying. I know what you're saying. But let's say I sail around and I sail around. What's it round Australia? And I keep going round, and I go around Africa and I keep going around. That's not a globe. But they can still circumnavigate. There's been loads of explorers that have circumnavigated east to west, but there is no evidence of anyone circumnavigate literally right over north to south. We've got some amazing explorers. We've got. I tell you what, I watched someone very recently, and he supposedly went to the South Pole. So he gets to the South Pole, and you look at his route. He gets all the way to the South Pole. He doesn't carry on going straight. He just does a left turn, 90-degree turn, and then goes that way. And he says, "Oh yeah, across the South Pole." It's not good enough.
Intriguing.
Keep it there and accelerate it.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Can I have a couple more of those?
Of course you can. There you go. There you go. It's just got a website in there. We're just asking people to challenge it yourself.
Can I have one more?
That's all. Of course you can. There you go. Take one. Excellent. Oh, you got one. You take one?
Take a leaf.
Of course you can.
Cheers, thank you.
Excellent. Oops, sorry. There you go. Would you like one? Good. There you go. Right.
Cheers.
Tough crowd, and it's only a tough crowd because this guy's here.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. You're fine.
Is this your website?
And all it is, it's just got some videos there because, as I say, we are being heavily censored, and we want people to debunk it themselves. And if anything, they'll learn a lot about science.
Yeah.
Right, you know this one here?
The Felix Bomba.
Yeah, so obviously if someone's within the gravitational field, they're going to move with
the gravitational field. What gravitational field?
Created by any mass in space.
Another story.
It's not a story. You can prove it. You can prove it mathematically and theoretically. I've done A-level physics.
Mathematical and theoretically.
Yeah.
Is that proof? Mathematically.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because you can apply maths to everything, like mechanics.
Right, so...
all the laws of mechanics apply to everything, the buildings
So
we
I have
make, the
6
vehicles we
oranges.
make.
I have 6 oranges, and I give...
That's not what I'm saying.
And I give 7 oranges away.
That's nothing
and
to
then
do
on
with what I'm
maths,
saying.
on maths,
I'm
like
talking about
minus
mechanics,
1.
not
No, but
numer-
all I'm saying
You're
is
talking
that,
about numericals,
all
right?
I'm saying is that maths isn't, like...
That's not maths.
Is that not maths? Well, today I've got my numbers. I thought when I talked about numbers and subtraction, I thought it was maths.
No, it's not. That's numerical. It's different. Maths is about formula, right? So mechanics is a
There's
way
so
to
many
apply
people
maths to
here
real life.
that will disagree with you. They do
Who?
not believe...
Yeah, but based on what? Like I'm saying here, you have a gravitational field. Yeah. Yeah, just because you don't understand how gravitational fields work doesn't mean it's made up.
Because I want proof.
Well, just research it for yourself.
Okay.
It's very easy to. It's actually really
Give
easy
us a citation then that I can. A citation that I can prove this to myself.
I don't have a citation ready because I've just been walking
No,
past on
that's
the
fair
street.
enough. That's fair enough.
Go
But
and
like,
look
but what
it
I'm
up
saying
for
is that.
yourself.
But what I'm saying is that there is no proof.
There
It
is.
is a belief system.
It's a
It
belief,
sounds-
it's a
it
belief
sounds-
system
it's a
based
great
on
story.
theory that you can apply to real life.
And then
that's
I
been used
don't.
to
Well,
create
we've
so
had
many
this
things.
talk about again theories, again
All
stories.
right, so your theory for flat Earth, what have you been able to apply that to in real life? What have you been able to create with your theory in real life?
I can see
Leaflets.
I can see land that I shouldn't be able to see.
Where?
Based based on your mathematics. Your
What land
math.
can you see right now that you shouldn't be able to see?
What,
Based
right now here? Really?
Well, where?
Okay, so
In
where I,
anything.
where I live in down by Brixham in Devon.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand on I was at the edge of the pier, and I can see it's about 17 miles away, and I can see people walking on the beach with my zoomed camera, my I was at P1000. I can see people on the beach.
Yeah.
Okay, based on the spherical trigonometry, based on Pythagoras theorem. Okay, you're not meant to be seeing people on that beach. Should be 40, 50 feet over the curvature of the Earth, and yet I can see people any day of the year, except for on a crap day.
No, because that's.
Where are you?
Would you like one of them? You had a question.
I've already got
You
one.
Did you get one?
Thank you. Can I ask what levels the ocean if gravity isn't real? Or so what levels? What makes the ocean be level then?
Okay, could it be just density and buoyancy, and maybe electromagnetism? Could it just be relative density?
But it still makes this shape. If there's
You think that we've got these shapes, so maybe I have a big rock there, and then at the top there'll be another rock of water on the top, the same size. Is that what you think?
No, because it would still average out.
Because it finds its own level, doesn't it?
But that's due to that's due to gravity.
It's due to the magic Harry Potter of gravity that no one can prove.
If you put a rock there, you just get a slightly bigger curve.
I've heard the story before, but like, where's the proof?
You could do it. I have a question. You could literally do it.
I have a question. So firstly, I do agree that I can't disprove anything that you're saying.
Okay.
But secondly,
is it good then to question it?
I mean,
is it science? Should it be questionable?
That's the point. It is. It's peer review.
Oh, thank you.
That's the thing that I want. That's the bit that failed on me. That's the bit
There's lots of it.
that I thought was peer reviewed, and none of it was ever falsified. Show me one peer review, falsified evidence that gravity exists.
Like most of modern science, like all of modern physics.
Again, you're stories to everyone, and you're back
rocketry, aerodynamics. There's a plane in the sky. That's like.
No, but Emma, the thing is, like, I feel like what you're saying is basically.
There you go. Thank you very much.
You deserve that.
Oh God, I'll try my best, but thank you. I'm questioning it. I'm trying to I'm trying to bring this to the forefront that people should be able to question this. And
my point
I
of
know
view,
I haven't got all the answers.
From my point of view, there just seems to be lots of evidence out there if you want to accept it. If you don't, then no amount of evidence is going to prove it.
I like to think I'm open-minded on the other evidence, but going through all my schooling and then finding out certain things, like things like I see the International Space Station. I see I don't know if you watch a bit of journalism and that, and he shows you scuba tanks and that, like in space and that, and Paul on the plane, and he shows you the fake in space. It's overwhelmingly convincing. Thank you. Yeah. Some of it might be. I don't know. But I've been researching 18-hour days. For a long time now. I
probably watch YouTube.
Probably like that as well. But there should be a lot more, educated, intelligent people. They should be examining this a bit further. But what I see, I see a lot of these people on just the kind of debunk sites, and that they're not coming over to. You obviously know Nathan Oakley's. So a lot. This guy here, he should go to Oakley's, and he should be challenging. But you know what had happened? Sometimes he can be.
I've been called a moron on more than one.
So, you've been on there, have you? Oh, right, okay. No.
But I've left comments. So, it's not a nice man.
I think he needs to calm down a little bit. I'll accept that. And I don't watch it all. Well, I like the bit about, what's it?
It changes nothing.
Oh God, verifying the scientific method. I like that. I didn't even know, I didn't really know much about the scientific method. That's what I've learned through. And he's brought that to.
Yes, he has. Let me give you my.
Go on.
There are lots of different
Are
sciences.
you okay if I catch you?
Yeah.
Go on.
There are lots of. It's too late for that now.
Yeah, surely.
There are lots of different sciences, and they all have different criteria for what their method is. Now, he's picked one particular scientific method for a particular thing, and now he's trying to apply that to everything.
Okay.
Because he has the scientific method.
Right.
It's not right.
You think it should be? It's different then.
The scientific method there isn't one scientific method.
Okay. That's well.
There are lots of
that
different
probably helps me
sciences.
then, because when I go on the internet, you're quite right. I see it written down so many different ways. Yeah. So
It's like, I mean, obviously, you know, Anthony Riley.
yes.
And he does this experiment where he puts his egg in a brine solution.
Okay.
And
For
then
relative density in that.
And then he puts more salt in,
Yeah.
and the egg rises.
Yeah.
Well, the egg rises because as the salt's going in, it's dissolving into the water. The water's becoming more dense.
But isn't that what he's trying to say, though?
No, that's not actually what he's saying.
Okay.
But the egg rises because it's, yes, relative density. It rises because of buoyancy. And buoyancy relies on gravity.
Okay.
Because all that heavier water around the egg is trying to replace where the egg is. So the egg has to go up. And it's just down to gravity affecting the water around the egg.
Again, though, but you do have to believe in that gravity.
Yes, but we see it all around us.
Well,
There's something.
We see something.
We see something.
Okay.
Makes things fall down.
Yes.
And that's also why I can't understand. See, I'm getting on soapbox now. I didn't want to.
No, sorry.
Things are attracted to the ground. The air is attracted to the ground. That's why we have a pressure down here. But as we go up, there is a pressure gradient. And when we get to the edge of the atmosphere, there's hardly any pressure. That's why the air doesn't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
That air is still attracted to the ground.
Okay.
And it's not under pressure.
But you don't think that, the vacuum of space would be...
Vacuums don't suck.
No, I accept that. Yeah, I know that argument.
But the pressure is so low at the edge of the atmosphere, it doesn't want to go anywhere. It's still being attracted
when you
to
say
the ground.
it's
It's the pressure. Pressure goes from high to low.
okay.
But when you're at that altitude, there is no pressure. It's like if I had this can of spray paint, right, and I went like that,
yeah.
there'd be a thick band of the paint colour,
Okay.
and then gradually it would get less and less and less and less,
Okay.
and there'd be nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
And that border is the border between the atmosphere and space.
Okay. But I think that gravity is meant to be. What they say? It's how many tall? I forget what the.
Yeah, well, that's a red herring as well.
Okay. Well, you don't think it's really that pressurised out there, that the differential?
No. They go on about this minus
that we
1 to the minus
that
17
we can't
tall.
create this vacuum here on Earth.
1 to the minus 17 tall.
Is that what it is?
apparently?
Right, something like that. I
But
can't
that
remember
is
the figures.
that is just above zero. It's not negative. It's above zero.
Okay.
Yeah, the atmosphere. Oh,
That's not what they're saying on like Globebusters and things.
I know, because they've got it wrong. They've got this idea that minus 1 to the minus 17 is a really negative number. It's not. It's still a positive number. It's just extremely small.
Well,
but it's
they're
still
saying
greater
it's
than zero.
extremely.
But that's why you find their argument convincing, and that's why it's not convincing, because they've got the science wrong. Okay. It's physics, and they don't know physics. They bend the physics to suit their narrative.
Right. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to argue on you because I don't know enough about.
But does it make sense to you?
But well,
there is a pressure gradient.
No,
if you compare here to the top of Everest,
I'll tell you what makes sense. It makes sense enough for me to want to investigate it further.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you. So I was just saying, thanks
you very much.
for
Let me shake your hand because I've been interested.
Yeah,
Thanks very
it's
much.
very nice.
Thanks a lot. I think I've really like that. Cheers, buddy. Right, let me you give somebody for time and have a little chat. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, we're back. I'm really sorry. Anthony Riley, Sleeping Warrior, he wanted to talk to who made who was in the bike uniform. Howard was his name. So yeah, no, it was quite an interesting chat. We know, like, we had a scientist there, we had someone who goes on Sleeping Warriors channel and Nathan Oakley's channel. Sorry, you probably can't hear a word I'm saying. Keep forgetting my microphone's on this side. No, it's fantastic. Anthony Riley, Sleeping Warrior, he wanted to speak to them. Had a really interesting chat. I'm not sure if you all heard it. You know, I don't think you did. But yeah, no, there's. I think what's going to happen is we're in Liverpool tomorrow, and Anthony's going to be joining us. Wouldn't it be great if we have the same people? They were really nice. They were respectful. We had a really good chat. They still can't prove gravity, even though they think it's there. But no. So, that was fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed that. That was great. That's what we do. We're here to challenge science and get them critically thinking themselves instead of just believing stuff. Okay. Cool. Was that good?
You were talking to him for a very long time. Did you
Yeah.
win with him, though?
Sorry?
Did you get anywhere?
No, well, I mean, like, because that's the thing. All they can do is keep coming with these stories, okay?
Indoctrination.
Indoctrination. But no, a pair of them very respectful. You know, like it's a very technical argument that I'm probably not really equipped to deal with. I can deal with on my level, but like I think we need like the Nathan Oakleys and the Anthony Rileys of the world to deal with that subject.
Can I just ask you a question? So the Earth is flat.
I don't know. It's observably flat. I don't know if it is.
So
I've never been
where
around
would it
yet.
end, though?
I don't know.
Because like if you go
Don't know.
from Australia and you go around, you'll still
On a
end
ball.
Up, yeah, you'd still end up in Australia. So it's.
You're on about north.
But if I go round, so I've just gone round.
Yeah, but if I go.
But
from
you
Australia,
don't look like a ball.
I know, but a ball.
So can I not
You're
just
on
go
about
around
like a basketball. For
No. Forget about the edge. I'm not saying for a second that this is our model. Okay, it's just an example. I just want to show you what north, east, west looks like. North in the middle. Okay, south in every direction. East and west. Okay, we've got Tropic of Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer, probably the way around. Forget it. And then you've got the equator in the middle. Okay, so if the sun and ships and all sorts of are going around. Okay. So in our summer, the sun is a lot more closer, Tropic of Capricorn, I think it is, and then as it goes further on out and goes round into the Tropic of Cancer over Australia and that, it becomes our winter, and then it starts coming back in again.
How does it
okay. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You kind of think that thing's set because we were never taught in school about compression, angular resolution, perspective. We're not really taught. We've maybe taught about perspective. You've probably been to art class and you've seen like train tracks and they all converge into one and that. Okay,
like illusions, yeah.
So we've got this thing called the perspective matrix. Okay, so basically all it means is that like things from our left and right, and they all come into the centre, but things from the top, from the sky, in the distance, start coming down to our eye level. Things from the floor start coming up to your eye level. So this is why this person here actually only looks that big, perspective matrix. So things get smaller and smaller and smaller into distance. That's the same with the sun, okay? The sun is not meant to change in size. It's meant to be 93 million miles away. And yet, when it's supposedly setting over the horizon and supposedly going, we see it starting to shrink a little bit. And it's not meant to shrink. It's meant to be the same size.
The light is not getting through as much, and it looks larger due to the light coming out from it. Okay. So when it sets, there's less light, meaning it looks smaller. Because you're seeing less
but when
of
we
the
put
light.
on like our solar filters and then we measure the pixels and all that, we actually see it shrink an awful lot in some cases.
Does the sun orbit the Earth? So does the sun go like around like this, around like that?
Sorry. Yeah, we believe that the sun isn't as big as what you think. Because the sun and the moon, do they appear the same size? They kind of do. They appear to be the same size.
I think the sun appears bigger sometimes.
Also,
the sun looks bigger in this diagram too.
Okay. So that's just an example. So if I had a torch here and I shine it here now, we wouldn't be able to see it. I don't know, a mile up there or something. It wouldn't shine up the whole. We just believe that this is smaller and much more localized.
How do you explain solar eclipses and things then?
I don't know enough about it.
Because that's.
So
well, the moon.
I mean, I tell you what. I can. What is a puzzle to me is this: is the fact that I can't. I don't know how in my reality to make a shadow smaller than my hand or an object. It's not really possible to make something smaller than the object. I don't know how to create in my reality on Earth. I don't know how to make shadows smaller.
The closer you move a light to an object, the smaller the shadow becomes.
I tried. I tried all this and I failed miserably.
Yeah, but say
Maybe
you've
when
got a
you get
light-
home, you can try that yourself and see if you can figure
If
it
you've
out.
got a light on the floor, yeah, so like a torch shining upwards and you've got a ceiling, and then you put your hand in front of it, your hand looks massive, then you bring your hand further and further away, the shadow
And
gets
then-
smaller on the
no,
ceiling.
Oh, that's right. It does get smaller,
So
but
the
not
shadows?
smaller than your hand.
Because it's the same thing.
That's the thing. But this moon, the moon, the eclipse, and that this shadow gets really small. You know, I think about
It's the same
75
reason
mile wide.
It's the same reason I've said when the sun sets, it looks smaller. There's less light on the moon.
Not
on
look
the front.
through it. I mean, like we're talking 75 miles wide. I mean, like that. This shadow.
75 is a minuscule amount compared to the actual size of the moon.
Exactly.
Meaning that variation
Exactly.
is literally nothing.
If sunlight is meant to be going parallel in a straight direction, you know, like it's not like going like that. It's going parallel.
Yeah, but then light refracts and stuff, doesn't it? And
Again.
it changes direction.
I think
It
to
changes
argue
direction.
this, you've got to know
A hell of a
so
lot.
much.
Yeah.
So trying to
Yeah,
persuade
no,
people on the street in Sheffield
No,
is a
please
bit
don't say that.
pointless.
I'm not trying to persuade anyone. I'm trying to
All
challenge
right.
you to take a look yourself. You know,
Okay.
like, that's what, I'm not delusional to think for a second that I could turn you into a globe denier in 5 minutes. I'm not that delusional.
But to even talk about it, you've got to know unreal amounts.
And I do know a fair amount, but not. You're right. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I don't know everything, and that's why I don't try to bullshit people. You know. Yeah. Thank you very much. Are you coming to Liverpool tomorrow?
I'm not.
You can speak to Anthony. He'll be there at St John's.
I've got work.
No.
I've got the afternoon office.
That would be a great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we should probably.
Right, we need to get going.
You got your leaf. Look, look, literally, what we're saying is that there is a website there, FE Start. There's also an app there, and that.
I've just subscribed to your YouTube channel anyway.
All right, okay, you can check it out.
Have
Cheers,
a good
guys.
day.
I think you should be a little bit less direct on your thing though. So
No,
you know how you're saying you are being
we're
lied
trying to
to.
provoke people and challenge people.
Yeah, but
and get
maybe
them
you should
to
make
research
it a question. So are you being lied to? Just saying.
To make
Because you're saying
people
you are being
question it
lied
more
to.
than
That's
think.
what
It
you
cost me
do.
money now to change that. It's there.
Just
So
saying
thank
on
you.
your next one.
Thank you very much. Oh God. That was a bit of a heavy start to. I say we have. Oh God, like Harry he would not talk so much about the scientists, but he would take them aside and challenge them on what it is that they actually know and how they know stuff. I think sometimes that Harry's approach is 10 times better than mine. You know, like, Harry, where was you today? You should back me up today. Yeah, that would have been a bit easier. That was pretty difficult. Full on, that was. Well, that's what we're out here for. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Again, there is so much more better people to do this than me. And you, Anthony and Nathan. Nathan Oakley, you should be out here on the street. You should be here. I mean, like, you could have. I would have expected you, Nathan, to have destroyed them too. It would have been really good, and everyone would pay to see that one. Oh, that was tough. Thank you, Tapper. I'll do the best I can. I'm not as bright as some of the people here that come across, but I'll do the best I can. It's all fake knowledge. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Because there's half truths and then loads of fake stuff, and I think it's just getting mixed.
You talk a lot of fake shit, you do.
I tell you what, I am shattered. That was what time are we? Where are we on time? What? All right, okay. Yeah, 83 minutes gone and that. That was. It is starting to quiet down a little bit. I think people are more interested in getting home now. Who knows? We'll hang around. We're not in any hurry. Yeah, been good. Thoroughly enjoyed today. It's been really good. Let's give these guys. I'll let you have one. That isn't going to be thrown in the bin. There you go. Do you want them? Would you like one? I've got one. You've got one. Well, see, she's enlightened already. Would you like one? Are you okay? There you go. Excellent. Cheers, guys. Yeah. They'll probably find a few in their bins anyway. So we'll give them one that hasn't been thrown in a bin. Yeah, I think some people miss the point. They think that I'm here to change opinions and minds, and that. Not here to do that. I'm here to bring it to the table and challenge it for yourself, debunk it yourself. I'm not here to hold anybody's hand and indoctrinate somebody and bring them to the cult of Jason of the Disbury family. No, not here to do that. Just here to bring them to the table, and then hopefully you guys can educate them. You might do a better job than me. I know what I know.
Are you intelligent? Are you intelligent? Tell me what that is about. You explain to this boy. You explain to this boy what that leaflet is about. It's controlling people to an extent. That land that's round. Explain to me what this is about. That. Tell me what it's about.
Yeah, we know that, though. They're not fine.
Yeah, there's still an awful lot for me to learn, and I do a fair bit of research kind of every day. Probably not at the moment while I'm on a tour, but I do. Oh God, I mean, like, I'd like to say that I'm open-minded both ways, but it's getting increasingly more difficult when you see all the fakery that they're doing in space, all the pictures, and then all the land that we can see. These are my reasons, not whether I know these figures or not, these concepts and these mathematical equations. It's much bigger than that. I see land that I'm not supposed to see. Let's have a look at this. I see that. I was expecting to see the Earth. I see the Earth missing. I want to know, well, why if I can see a shadow down there, why don't I see the rest of the Earth coming down? I see problems with. Well, I have a problem with Polaris. I have a problem with not seeing enough parallax in that. I think that's what I'd like to do next is 3D learn a little bit more about 3D modelling, and try and put a view of myself and see, like with these fantastic speeds, 1,000 miles an hour spinning, and was it 67,000 miles an hour? Or was it going around the sun and travelling at 500,000 miles an hour through the solar system? I'd like to see these fantastic speeds and to know the fact that, look, these stars are doing exactly the same in every which way direction and at all different fantastic speeds and that. And I don't believe for a second that we would be able to see all of these stars in the same place, these constellations, year after year after year after year in the same place. And people say, they do move and all that. And yet, well, Leo's where Leo is meant to be, and Sagittarius is meant to be that's where that is. And I don't know, you got like Orion's belt. I mean, I believe that's still over the pyramids of Giza. Maybe it's something I don't know. Maybe there's something more to it. I'm expecting that there should be parallax, that we should see different parallax and that. I actually believe that, if there's meant to be as many stars as more stars than every grain of sand on Earth, then there should be a sky, and if light travels forever, the skies should be white every night, which is kind of nonsense. I don't believe that light travels forever. I don't think there is. I think if that was the case, then I look up at the sun. I see that the sun. I can see the sun. It's bright, but I can see the sun. I can look at the sun. But if I get an arc weld, and if I can't look at an arc weld, so what we're saying is that this arc weld should be able to I should be able to see this light from hundreds of miles away. But I believe that light travels as far as again, I'll say the inverse square law of light, and that's only because it's something new that I learned. I don't know enough about it, but that kind of makes sense to me. I don't believe that light travels forever. I'm not accepting that we can see something trillions and quadrillions of miles away. That's, again, stories, fantastic stories that no one really can prove. They just believe it. So, not accepting that.
And apparently...
Yeah, seems to be quieting down a little bit now. Okay, your drunk friend left you?
Yeah.
That's hard. I see that you're trying to keep it together, but... That's it. A little bit intoxicated.
Bit of CD going
Well,
on
that
there.
seems to quiet down. So we had loads of numbers there, and then it just seems to quieten down.
Yeah, dribbled away.
Yeah. I did hear, though, like from the pair of them there, that they called me by my first name. The two main people. Yeah.
No, troll.
No, well, no. I mean, he's obviously seen me and he's come down. Mate, with the biker outfit.
All the time he was here, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. As I say, but it's good. Well, that's quieting down. It's, yeah, I think we're just handing out leaflets now at the moment. I'll give you a leaflet there. There you go. Yeah, we'll keep away from the banners, and hopefully someone will go and look at the banners, and then we'll just hand out some leaflets. And David, so I'm not really handing out your cards at the moment. I mean, like your app is on my leaflet. I don't know if you've seen that. I did actually put one of them little links on there as well. It'll be on the new banners, and I believe that I'm going to phone up in a minute. I believe that our new banners are definitely here today. Funny story. So I phoned up about the stickers and my banners and that, but I phoned up about my stickers. So what's been happening with them, and he's given me the tracker number, which I just not checked. Apparently they should be at my house now. So I'm speaking to the guy who printed all the stickers. And he said that him and his mate have been talking about Global Eye and Flat Earth. They've been talking about it all week. And he said he's not sure about his mates and all that. He said, but I'm sold, I'm convinced. I just thought it was fantastic. And he started looking into other conspiracies and things and all that. But he's going to be checking out, I'm not saying Flat Earth no more. He's checking out Global Eyes a bit more. Again, I'm trying to get people to move away from Flat Earth. Let's start looking at Global Eyes again, because like if you're gonna go on the internet and you for the first time come across this for the first time, you put Flat Earth in, you know what you're going to see. You're just going to get all of these troll sites and all this crap.
And it goes on and on and on.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think Lisa's having a chat and not sure to what degree, but I don't want to put a camera there. Hiya, John. Good to have you with us, John. Could definitely have done with you today. Be nice to see if you're about. Maybe if you fancy a trip up to Liverpool tomorrow, it'd be great to see you. We've got Anthony's coming down. We do have another a special guest coming, but he might want to be off camera. I don't know. I'll speak to him later. We're asking questions. We want proof that we do live on a globe. We just want to know. Because I was told at 5 years of age, look, you live on this globe, is this ball that you live on? And I didn't well, there is no evidence that they went to space. That's the problem. That's what we're demanding. We should be given evidence to it. No. Thank you, John. Yeah, whether you're a flat earther or not, or globe denier, I think the best thing that we've ever done on the street is that, is challenging people to investigate themselves. Science shouldn't be a belief system. It shouldn't be. Education shouldn't be a belief system. I'm hoping Liverpool tomorrow. I think maybe like around St John's area. I'll be more specific later, maybe tonight in the van. We've got an awful long trip tonight. I've got to drive. We're in Sheffield right now. I've got to drive all the way back down to Devon, pick up my new banner, pick up my new all the stickers for the van, and then get all the way back to Liverpool. It's going to be a hell of a drive tonight, but I'm up for it. Roxanne's going to have her first drive tonight. Don't think she's looking forward to it, but she'll get on with it. It's got to be done some point, and it's better to be done with me and in the UK. So yeah, well, and again, I don't mind doing the drive. It's because I'd rather put the van through its paces. If we're going to have any breakdowns, let's have it done today. Would you like one of those?
No, it's fine.
You're fine, okay.
Coming here, but you're not interested in the real stuff.
Yeah, very quieting down now. Let's go and have a look at Roxanne. She's still hard at work here. Let's go and say hello. That's if she's got time for us. She's still hard at work.
Yeah, I've got like 50 more minutes.
How many?
50 minutes.
50 minutes.
Quite a few more tasks. I'm trying to
You okay?
finish everything. Yeah, I managed to speak to Michelle and the guy in the level. What's up with the guy in the level? Well, who was he?
No, we had a good chat.
Who was he?
Yeah, no, he's
what?
He's a bit of a debunker, so for I think he watches a lot of the channels and that. And
He's not going to be able to debunk the fact that the globe's a lie.
No, we had
kind of came up short with that.
We had a great chat. He was quite.
He was really cool.
He was respectful. He even bought me a coffee.
Oh, bless. Do you know what? I didn't actually get to speak to him for very long.
Oh, did you come
because I was
and say hello,
working.
did you?
Yeah, I managed to have a sit with him here, and that was when I spoke to Michelle, and I was multitasking. I managed to speak to a few people, but again, it's difficult when I'm like eyes down, full ass, and the more I'm talking, the more I'm emailing, and I'm on the phone to people, and I'm like, sorry, I'll stop talking to you. Hello, how can I help you? But I tell you what, I'm not complaining, because I never thought I'd be able to work from an office within the stone's throw of the banners that are just there.
Yeah.
And to be able to kind of, in between calls, just kind of, and as I'm working, I'm hearing people walking past, like taking it seriously. Yeah, people are ridiculing as normal, but there's people walking past going, no, I actually didn't think that was a real thing. I thought that was just on the internet. And the guy was like, no, they were walking up talking about it. So
Seeds.
I've seen it. I've never seen it from this perspective before.
Right.
I mean, I've had my little sit downs when I'm live and I'm talking to people, but I almost feel like it's like wrong. There's a lot of times where I literally just was like, you know what? And I'm like, no, I'm working in it. I can't. There was even times where, even from here, as people were walking off, and I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, it was a different look.
Yeah.
It's a different look. today? How have you enjoyed it?
Oh, full on. I'm tired, shattered. Yeah, I think we needed about 8 of us or something. That would have been a good number to cope with that crowd.
It was a big crowd. I've got some
It's a big
pictures
crowd.
of it as well. I took some pictures. I was really surprised at how many people had stopped. And
Yeah.
But you did brilliantly.
Yeah,
In between calls, I actually went on your live feed and had a little look in there.
I think what it is now, I'm not intimidated by the crowds now. You know, I've had massive crowds in the past, and I still say that, you know, like, because although this was these were a crowd of adults that weren't throwing abuse. Okay, they were challenging me, but not throwing abuse. Whereas, you know, I got challenged by about 50 kids that were was it throwing?
Yeah,
I don't know, it felt like throwing stones at me.
They were verbal ones.
They were verbal ones.
Yeah.
So no, this is easy. This is, you know, like.
And having Sean and his partner here as well, it's been lovely, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Been
Yeah.
some great chats. Look, that one ended well as well with that guy.
Yeah.
That was good. Look, he's off now. That didn't end.
Yeah, no, they just said Speaker's Corner is a great way to learn. Yeah, I'll send you over. You can. The problem is you've got to hold it like that in order to, because you can't see the screen, because the microphone's on the front.
Oh well, never mind. I'll talk to you then.
I'll tell you what. No. What I do. Out.
Yeah.
And then give you that. Turn it round, and you can have a little chat to them.
Crikey, that's like being left with a baby. I like that. Hi. I wish I could chat to you, but I've still got 50 minutes left of work, so I don't really want to be on camera for too long talking in case my boss tunes in and goes, so you're supposed to be working? So I'll talk to you, but I'd rather not be on camera talking.
There you go.
Just to kind of be off the screen. Thank you, Ricardo. All is they're not actually laughing at the banners, just so you know, the people in the background. Red Eye Jedi, Tapper 777, Coffee Paul, Zenith, UK Truth, Nick GB, and UK Truth 22222, Lulu Bear, Super Leads, Astro King, Dave Trev, Juan Carlos, and John 4. John 4 says you're doing a great job, mate. Power to you, Jason of the Disbury. Cheers, buddy. Looking at tour dates: Bordeaux, Madrid, Lisbon, Gibraltar. That's a brutal driving in 4 days.
Oh, it is.
It is. But, you know, hopefully we'll have lots of hands on deck, so it will be an absolute cinch. Literally a breeze, darlings. Literally a breeze.
Or not.
Or not. Yeah. Exactly. Flat Earth Trav. Sorry, my darling. Nice to see you.
All right. Nice.
But we'll be back at Staines by 6 p.m. That's near me. It is Meffy Mary. Really? Currently Copper Mills Reservoir, a stone's throw away from Spurs' new grounds. Zenith.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds interesting. And I will take care. And anyone in chat living down in Devon, go on, Tapper. Tapper's linking everyone up. And to all 79 people that have been tuned in watching the Globe Live Tour Day 6 in Sheffield, I believe it's Day 6 today. Today's been great. Sean and his partner have come out. Lisa's been out here. You've been out here. I've been working, unfortunately, so I feel like I've just not given the day anything, to be honest. And I'm actually skiving work right now, having this conversation. That's all good, UK Truth. I'm going to attempt to do some content later on. I've just got a few things in the background that I need to handle first. I'm just being honest with you all. And as soon as I handle those bits and pieces, I can be back in front of the camera and I can be doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with dinner tonight. I'm not sure what I feel like having. I think I want a sandwich.
Well, yeah.
I think I want a sandwich because I think I want to use what I've got. I don't want to waste it.
Got a long drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll be something quick.
Yeah. And I need to call my children and family as yeah, that's what I need to do as soon as I finish work. Lisa needs to start her own stream too. Yeah, it would be good if she did that. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Jim Eldred. I've not been doing any activism today, but tomorrow, if all goes well and God willing, and let's just all pray for good vibes for me, I would like to use it. So you will see that, and it was lovely getting to spend some time with you yesterday, Jim. Thank you so much for all your efforts yesterday. It was massively appreciated, and I can't wait to see you again soon. And who else is in the chat room? Jin CBR, all the way from Japan. Some more burnt toast. Do you know what? I'm actually in the mood for toast. Actually in the mood for toast. I actually just want tea and toast. I just want to. I don't know. I want to cry. I don't really want to cry. It's happy tears.
Yeah.
I know that I've got work to do, and I know that the more I'm talking to you, there's a NASA hoodie over there, Jace. See you later.
Yeah, gotta go.
See you later. Go and get the guy with the NASA hoodie on. I'm being drawn to him.
Okay, just a second.
The
heart, yeah.
Just say, there's a girl over there in a denim jacket that said you're wearing that jacket. I wouldn't make you.
Sorry
say
guys,
that.
just sorting myself out. Right, see you
Alright.
in a minute.
Good fun. Get your things.
And we're back. Who was she on about? Oh, NASA. Oh, here we go. NASA. There we go. I've seen him. NASA. Oh no, you can't be doing that. You're not allowed to come and see here. So, can I ask you? You got this jumper on, NASA. Okay. Do you believe we went to the moon?
He doesn't speak
Oh
English.
no! What's the good conversation with you then?
It's okay, I can translate.
You can translate. Oh, that's good.
Is this going on YouTube or something?
We are on YouTube. We're live on YouTube. There's a few people there.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, like, because for a long time I always believed that we went to the moon, and then I've seen lots of anomalies and reasons why we haven't been to the moon.
Yeah,
So-
like they lost the records or something.
Excellent, right? So we've
I
lost.
heard about this theory on YouTube.
Okay. And what's your gut feeling? Do you believe that we went to the moon?
I'm not sure exactly about the whole thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's lots of anomalies. Like for instance, there's no blast crater. I think it's underneath my thumb. But there was no blast crater underneath when the LEM landed. Can you see that? Yeah, if on that one. There. No blast crater. Thank you. So, and then there's waving flags. Okay, and then there's noises. One of the astronauts gets a cable or something, he throws it at the limit, and you hear it go doing. But you're not meant to be hearing any sounds in space, and that. You know, there's lots of reasons why that we couldn't have gone to the moon. It doesn't seem as though that we did go to the moon. But we believed it because it was on telly. So we're asking people. There's a website there. What's it? FE Start. There's also an FE app, and we're just asking people to research it. That's all we're doing.
I heard about this like a year or two ago.
Okay.
Yeah. I just saw a video about it. I didn't think much of it, so.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, like, it's pretty hard to. I mean, I think your first reaction is to say, "What? Really? People believe the Earth is flat? Really?" So, I think it's observably flat. You know, like we go to a beach and that, we look out, it looks flat. When we fly, it looks flat. When we go up, when we send balloons and cameras into space, it looks flat. You know, so, and yet when you got people like Felix Baumgart and they use a fish-eyed lens, a GoPro fish-eyed lens, it looks.
I saw this on television.
I mean, yeah.
Like-
When you see inside and the door opens and it looks flat, and yet this is all of Mexico. That's Mexico. And yet, what? So Mexico is half the Earth. So no, we're this here. That's 1 year apart. It's the same size radius. On NASA official NASA images, and America shrank. It got small. So we're asking questions. We don't believe it. I don't believe that I live on a ball. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's good to
There you go.
have. It's good to have an open mind for possibilities.
It's very good to have an open mind. I think when I first got into this,
we still don't know.
we still don't
Exactly.
know. Yeah, I mean, you should be able to critically think this, shouldn't you, and talk about it. That's what we should do. And then tell your friends he ditches NASA jumper.
He just arrived in the UK yesterday.
Right.
So yeah, we just arrived yesterday in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just bought this.
Do you know why lots of people wear them?
It looks good.
And they're cheap. You tell me, they're really cheap. Because it's programming, it's indoctrination for people. They're really cheap. Right, guys?
Do you have like something you're live streaming on?
Oh yeah, it's on Jason of the Disbury family.
Okay, is that on Instagram? Or
No, on YouTube. On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Type Jason of the Disbury family, and you'll be able to be able to see yourself.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Jason of
DIS.
that one.
DIS.
Oh, DIS.
Disbury family. And you'll see a picture. There you go. That's me. All right. Oh. There you go. We had a little chat guy with the NASA shirt, jumper, pull over. Right, guys. How's it been so far?
It's been amazing. Well, it's for me anyway. My
Okay.
first little.
And I haven't even noticed. I've been so captivated with everybody else. Have you been talking to people?
I have.
Okay. Any interesting conversations?
Yeah, with quite a few people. Obviously, some people have said that I'm crazy, and I'm go fine unless people want to think I'm mad.
She doesn't look nuts. no, this man. No, this man. she told me he's nuts.
Don't know where I'm going sometimes.
No. So you've enjoyed yourself as well?
Oh yeah, definitely, mate.
Yeah, of course. Been a good day, hasn't it? I got bombarded with about, I don't know, it seemed like about 100 people, but maybe not so many.
Yeah, you did have a bit of a gathering.
There was a gathering there. That's when you need, you know Trinity 4, Dave Mannell?
Yeah.
I needed him here.
We watched him last night.
He would have settled all of that. That would have,
His big speech.
So, you know, like
he's calmed down a bit now.
Sometimes we need the right people. We do sometimes, in that, and Dave would have sorted that out.
They would have been like, "Who's shouting?"
Yeah.
They would have come to see. Who's
Yeah.
calling?
I mean, there's Lisa there, single-handedly taking them all out. Yeah, let me grab some of them and just make sure that.
Okay, you cannot compress a liquid, okay? So once it gets to a point where it's completely flat and like leveled out, you cannot compress it right the water thing's annoying me.
We got a little bit tongue-tied then.
The water thing just...
Please explain.
The water thing? Yes. Well, okay, 71% of Earth is water, okay?
Yes.
Okay,
I can
so
agree on
water
that.
goes right round the ball, Earth?
Yes.
How? Why is it not falling off?
Because of gravity.
Excellent. Can we prove it?
No, not yet.
Not even science can prove
We're
it.
nowhere near smart enough to do that.
Now that's the thing, you know, like, so it's a belief system then. We've just got to believe that it exists. We know things, we see things fall, but can we prove that something's pulling it down? And then when I ask most of these people and say, what is gravity? They'll say, maybe it is...
It's a force.
It's Sir Isaac Newton and apples falling down, being pulled down?
It's a force about 9.8 newtons per meter.
Can we prove that?
Well,
can we prove that something is being attracted to the floor?
Yes.
I mean, we see things fall. Could it not just be, what's it, relative density? Could it not just be that? I mean, helium balloons rise, and then you're heavier than the air around you that you fall. Could
It's
it
because
be
helium
something as similar as that?
It's because helium's lighter than air.
There you go.
So it goes up.
Well, that's my point.
Air's just
That
there.
is my point. And you're heavier than the air, and therefore you remain on the floor.
Yeah, because of gravity. Because
He's trying to say gravity doesn't exist. He's trying to disprove gravity.
Because Albert Einstein, he says the bending of time and space is now superseded, basically. Sir Isaac Newton's gravity. So you meant to. So when that falls down, you're meant to say to me, to everybody else, and go, "Oh, look at that! That's the bending of time and space. That just fell to the ground because of that." No, you shouldn't be quoting Sir Isaac Newton.
What about on the moon
Superseded.
where there's less gravity?
How can we verify that?
Because you're gonna say that no one's been to the moon. haven't
No
you?
one's been to the moon. No. Look, that's one of the landers. That landed on the moon. That LEM. Okay. Where's the blast crater? Where's that blast crater? Look, have you ever looked at it? I don't know if it's still. Is Blue Peter still about?
No idea.
No. We had a program years ago. It was called Blue Peter, and they used to make. They used to make things like that. They'd make a spaceship out of egg cups and stuff and that.
Yeah, I've seen people do
You've seen Blue Peter. Well, honestly, that looks like mashed paper,
Mesh.
Mesh something, and curtain rods, and and there's no way that landed on the moon and then took off. There's not a chance. It's got lots of anomalies. Look at the moon landings and look at debunking the moon landings. Have a look at that if you can find it. What we're doing now, Research and Globalize, this is becoming highly sensitive because censored. If you go on to YouTube and Google and type in, let's say, flat Earth, you'll find it really difficult to find really good videos. That's why we're asking people to go to festart.co.uk and maybe see that app there. Download that app. Got loads of great questions and that, and getting you to just basically challenge it yourself. So you got to do challenge it yourself. You've been here a while, haven't you? Have you?
I've
seen you before.
Yeah. That was interesting. You made a mistake just now. Yeah.
I did.
Guy here. Yeah. He said the force of gravity.
Yeah.
The force of gravity is an acceleration, as he said, 9.81 meters per second per second.
Okay.
It can't be density because things of different density fall in the same way in a vacuum. So the air affects things when they fall.
Okay.
But if there's no air, then whatever the density of two different objects, they fall
I'll
at the same
accept that
rate.
there's more questions to be answered. I'll accept that. I'll accept that we don't know everything. There's more questions, and I definitely don't know everything.
That debunks your.
Right, that debunks gravity.
No, it doesn't debunk gravity. It debunks your idea of the relative density.
I think,
because if it's in a vacuum, there is no density at play, but they still fall at the rate we measure.
I don't know that. I'll take your word for it. I'll have to do some research on that because I don't live in a vacuum. It's something I've never tested. I imagine that they've done some sort of experimentation.
I've done them myself too.
On a vacuum?
I studied physics, yes.
But you dropped something in a vacuum?
Yes.
Okay.
It's quite easy to create a vacuum. I mean, relatively so.
To measure it as well? Things dropping?
You can measure a drop by watching it. You can measure it quite roughly if you just simply watch and time it yourself.
In a vacuum?
In a vacuum. Because you can make a vacuum chamber and it's see-through.
How tall would that be?
How tall?
Do you need it tall? Do you need it? Because you have to measure it.
Because you can do.
I'm just trying to understand it. And can I see it on YouTube or something?
I'd imagine so. I haven't looked for the videos of myself. So you can
yes,
find
I know. I tell you what, I watched. It was the Brian Cox one. You know when he drops the. Is it the hammer and the feather or something? He drops something.
Yeah.
It was something like that. Oh no, it wasn't. It was like a heavy bowling ball of some description or something.
Something in a feather, yeah.
And that was done in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And I had this is one of the reasons why I had problems with all of this. Because he went to one of the largest vacuum chambers in the world. With probably the greatest. One of the greatest vacuums, quite a large tour or something, Anyway, so he drops this feather and that, and when you first see it, he does it without a vacuum, and when you first see this ball and this feather come down, you see it fill. Okay? This is why it's not in a vacuum, and they did it for the BBC and all that.
Yeah.
And then when you see it, and they pump out all the air, and then they create this big large vacuum, and you see it come down, and you see it cut, film, cut, film, cut. 3 times it's cut. And that's their evidence it's the only evidence I've kind of seen of things dropping in a vacuum. And
that's unfortunate. Editing is a problem.
That is horrible, that is, because how am I meant to believe that? And I think that it's kind of one of the original reasons why I had a distrust for science. And I felt and you're right, it's not necessarily science, it might be just the editing process.
Well, yeah.
But it seemed to me like the BBC but it seemed as though the BBC are just lying. And that's what it seemed like. Again, astronauts, when you balloons go up, okay, and they'll pop when they get to a height. These balloons, balloons that go up this high, and they'll pop because of the differential of the air expands in these balloons. They do weather balloons. They put cameras on them, and then it pops eventually in that. And I just think that these astronauts, they'd surely be walking around like Michelin Man. They won't be able to move because everything would be so rigid, and then it'll pop.
Well, they wear. I don't know the specifics of the suit astronauts wear.
Well, it's kind of cloth. Well, yeah, layers of cloth, isn't it? Layers of. But what I'm saying is that, I mean, I don't believe for a second, you know, like even SpaceX, they put a car in space, straight off the factory floor. There's tyres there. Okay, it may not have air in the tyres, but there's airbags in there. There's lots of compartments of that car that would have little air pockets, even in the dashboard and the sides and all sorts. And thing would be going pop, 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 pop the second it got into space, and it didn't. Well, exactly. Yeah. Well, okay. So things would. I mean, I say there's there's airbags all around that Tesla. They should have all popped.
There are airbags still in it.
Well, he said. Well, I'm only going what like Musk said. He just said it was straight off the factory. They did nothing to it whatsoever. Straight off the factory line. I just see things like that, hear things like that, and think, well, hang on, this is a bit suspect. This is something's not right.
Nothing's ever perfect. He always tells every bit of truth. That's kind of the problem with pop science, is that everything is kind of
Subjective, and
because it's more interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, I just think that there's an overwhelmingly amount of evidence, like to suggest that we are being lied to, that we do not live on a ball Earth, a globe. There is no evidence to that. There's photographs, if you believe in NASA, and then pictures from space, and then find out that they weren't pictures; they were composites. They were just images. Stitched bits of data.
But it's also the same reason again, because it's more interesting.
But I was sold that as that's my proof. If I came here and seen this crazy bloke like me in the street preaching this nonsense, I would say, well, of course. I mean, I've seen photographs of Earth in space, and then realised I didn't.
What would you say the reason is for the lie? Why bother lying about this?
I have ideas. I mean, and obviously I've got no facts. Like this guy here in that white bag. Why is he carrying that white bag? I don't know. We've got to ask him. So just like liars and all that, we'd have to ask the liars. But I have my suspicions. It could be the very fact that we could be hiding more land. Could be, because did you hear about Admiral E. Byrd? And you might, if you've been researching this and that. Admiral E. Byrd, he went down to Antarctica, took about 3,500 troops with him, and then got to the South Pole, and in a black and white TV interview, which you can see that one on YouTube, Admiral E. Byrd, you'll see him talking about that he gets to the South Pole and he sees an abundance of more land bigger than America itself beyond the South Pole. That's what he says, okay?
Yeah.
And then, so we've got more land, bigger than America, and then you've got things like Captain Cook. He sails around. He was only meant to do, I believe it was about 12,000 miles around Antarctica or something, and he's meant to do a length of time, I forget what it is. But he ended up doing over 50,000 miles, like going around Antarctica when it should have been about 12,000 miles, but it took him so many...
That's because he went the wrong way and missed it.
Yeah, could be. Could be. But anyway, what I'm saying is that, I mean, like, there's things like that kind of tell me that they're not telling us the truth. Like I feel like that. So there could be the possibility of more land. That could be one of the reasons that they're lying.
Right.
There's lots of people saying that no, they're hiding God, because like if you go in the Bible, there's so many stories, like that. That say that we have a firmament above us. That we oh God, I can't even think of the stories. There's lots of references that we live on a flat earth on the Bible. I just don't. I haven't researched all of that, but people say, and I'm not. I mean, agnostic I am. I've never had a feeling or anything, a calling, like for religion and all that. I don't. I'm not an atheist. I mean, I think if we don't know either way, then we should sit on the fence. We just don't know. Sit on the fence.
I have a question.
Go on.
So, if the Earth is flat,
you haven't got one of them.
If the Earth is flat and everything's on top, how thick is it underneath?
That's what I'm thinking.
How far does it go down?
Well, the deepest hole that we've ever dug is, I believe it's 7 3/4 miles. That's the deepest hole. Okay, I think it's like the Kola Bora Russian hole.
It's like the deepest point in the world, like the Mariana Trench.
Now the thing is, no, it's actually deeper than that. Okay, that's the deepest hole that we've ever done. Okay, and yet we believe that there is an iron core melted core, don't we? We believe that. And it's only a belief because we don't know. We've never dug down deep enough. We haven't got a clue what's there, but we believe it. And we're saying no. You shouldn't just believe things.
How do you think a compass works then?
A compass just points to north, doesn't it? Points to north.
Yes.
It doesn't point to south, doesn't point to east.
Well,
Doesn't
how
point
does
to
it know
west.
where north is?
Well, again, I mean, let's say that I'm in Australia, study here in Australia. You're right. How does it know where north is? Because north to a compass is down, isn't it? It's there.
Not exactly.
Is it not?
North is
Below my feet if I'm in Australia.
But if you're in Thailand or
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm just saying that I was using it as an example. But
if you're which construct were you assuming? If you're on
so if I'm a sphere, if I'm a
Okay.
ball, and I'm stood in Australia, then or
Then
New
north.
Zealand, I think, or antipoid. Is it antipoid or something? Antipede, wherever it is, antipoid, antipede.
Then north is below.
Right below us, I think it would be
Like it's.
right
But
below
my
us.
point
I
is
think it's
because
New Zealand or
you
Australia.
mentioned the iron core of the Earth.
Okay.
And these go hand in hand
Well-
because the
well, you
iron
say
core
that,
makes
but-
the Earth have a magnetic field, and that's how a
yeah,
compass
see, that's
knows.
where I disagree because I've, I don't know if you've ever took a magnet and then you melt that, it loses all its magnetic properties.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, we've got to melt it. We've got an iron core that's melted.
I think. Well, some of it's melted. Some of it's. I think the core in the middle's solid, but also.
Maybe I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
How could we possibly know?
But we can
Stories
we can
again.
measure the magnetic field around the Earth.
Okay.
So there's something that produces.
Well, but can we not just measure it on a flat plane? Would it? It wouldn't really tell us one way or the other, would it? It'd probably fit on both models.
is this your model?
Yeah, exactly.
No, we don't have a model. We don't know.
So what's if you're assuming the Earth's flat, what's at the edge then?
Yeah, that's media programming. I say that's media programming
Right.
because I've never met a flat earther or a globe denier
Yeah.
that has ever suggested that we have an edge. It's just media programming. You know,
So-
like
or if,
fake
okay, another
news.
thing. So if I'm on a flight from London to New York to LA, from LA to Hawaii to Thailand, back to
Yeah,
London,
yeah. So look, we're just going around the continents. Just flying, going east to west, west to east. You're flying around the continents. That's all it is. Makes much more sense, I think. And it's the same, like because we have a 24-hour sun in the north, okay? I mean, there's lots of film, video evidence on that. You go on YouTube and you can watch that 24-hour sun. So as the sun is also going round, I believe it's Capricorn, so it's going around Capricorn and then it starts going out around the equator. So we have our summer to begin with, and then which is Australia's winter. As it starts going round past the equator, it goes into Cancer, tropical Cancer, and then once it hits Australia, that becomes our summer. Okay, but we should have the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, but we can't find evidence of that. I thought I did because when I was trying to debunk this, I thought I had found evidence. I found this 24-hour. It said so on YouTube. 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I watched it. You see these flags, and you see the sun going around, and then you watch the showing of these flags, and it stops there. And then it repeats and it goes on and it shows you for hours and hours. It makes no
But
sense.
surely, I mean, if you think of all the hundreds of thousands of airline pilots, for example, if the Earth was flat,
They're coming out now.
surely they would know.
No, because it's like I don't know. I don't know if you've heard this. I mean, like if he's an airline pilot and he turned around and said, "Look, I've just seen little green monsters flying around up there somewhere," he'll be out of a job right away. You're not going to get away with it. They won't keep you in.
But there's plenty
You'll
of
lose your
retired
wings.
airline pilots.
So what?
There's plenty of retired airline pilots. Been airline pilots for a long time.
And they are coming out. There is lots of globe deniers, flat earthers who are pilots. They are speaking out. There's lots of them.
So why does this show, NASA when they fly out, like America, like the space missions, they show a picture of the Earth. And it looks round from the vision.
It does, doesn't it?
Or is it the sunlight what makes it look like that?
What it is, I thought that they were real photographs. I was convinced that they were real photographs. It was only later on, if you look at the small print on NASA's website, it'll tell you that these photographs, they are composite images. They're just picture, stitch it all together, put it around a 3D sphere, and then call it a photograph. This guy here, he does it. Data visualizers. Him and people like him, like they do that.
So it's darkness what gives a false picture then?
It's what?
It's darkness what gives a false picture then?
Well, I mean, see, and that's the other thing as well. I mean, like, we see all of these Musset pictures and all that, and then you see all this black sky, and you ask these astronauts, and they contradict themselves. Some astronauts say, oh, yeah, we see loads of stars. Other astronauts say, oh, no, it's just the blackness of space. We don't see any stars. You know, like, and they're all contradicting themselves. We're asking questions and we're just challenging people
So
to.
in your theory of what the astronauts are doing, they're just coming up from the flat Earth and coming back down to see the flat disk. Is that what you think they're going to see that?
We think that NASA is just purely there to deceive us.
Right.
And again, if you ask me why, I can only just guess. I don't know.
Well,
Just guessing.
if they say that the Earth is round, right, we've got gravity, haven't we? We've got gravity.
So he's taking a deep breath as well, because it is very
G word
contentious.
was said.
It's a tough subject, gravity. Look. I think we should have a proof of gravity.
Yeah.
I think that, it's called the theory of gravity, okay?
Yeah.
And it's argumentative to turn around and other scientists have a twist on words, and they'll say that a theory is not what you think, and you know, like, I don't accept that. I think a theory is he comes up with a great story, you agree with him, and then you agree with him, and that's just a great theory. That's just a story. It's just a story, you know, like. The magic of Harry Potter, something pulling things down to the centre of the earth. How can that be proved? There's nothing that's going to prove that. You know, that drops down. I mean, like, nothing's grabbing it and pulling it down. You can't prove that.
Well,
and then when I ask you and say, which gravity are you talking about? And most people just think of Sir Isaac Newton. What about Albert Einstein, the bending of time and space?
That's the same gravity.
They say that, but it's not. You go on to the American Scientific Journal and look at someone Musa, I forgot his name. Is it Bob Musa? Someone Musa. And American Scientific Journal, and he'll tell you that it was superseded and that's gone. That he says something about, oh God, I just can't remember this stuff. Put in Musa, American Scientific Journal, and just have a read of that one. Again, I'm not trying to score points, win arguments, or anything like that. I'm trying to provoke you into just do a bit of research and check, have a look at some
You're never
things.
going to know that. It's going to be it's a difficult subject. Isn't
You're
it?
telling me I'm here on the battlefield.
So why don't the people who believe what you do just sponsor a mission, just keep going in one direction of the Earth and prove your theory?
Yeah.
If you know what's going to happen.
Right, so one of the other reasons was maybe control that we talked. I turned around and said that maybe there's possibility of more land. Maybe it could be money and all that, but control. Okay. There's an Antarctic treaty in place that prevents me and you going down there. They'll have scientists down there, they'll have military personnel and all that. I cannot take animals or fuel down there, so I can't go to that to the South
So
Pole.
according to you, Antarctica is all around the world.
And in every direction.
If Earth was flat, look at what the medieval people said. We would fall off it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's our media programming. Because I thought that, obviously there has to be an edge, but if space is ever expanding and we have space which is infinitely, just carries on infinitely, why can't land be like that?
Do you think that the sun and the moon are flat as well?
No, I don't.
You think they're
They
globes?
look like spheres to me. I'd have to say no, the sun is a different matter. If I look at the sun, that looks like 2D. I just see if I look in a telescope, binoculars or anything like that, it looks 2D.
So you think that
But I don't know.
Right. So it's just,
I have to say I don't know because I can't prove something.
But we can't.
There's certain things that I can. Like things that lands that I shouldn't be able to see. That's my biggest evidence. Well, look, this one was taken for the Blackpool Gazette. He took a long distance photo. It was 65 miles of the Isle of Man on a really good clear day.
From the shore from Blackpool.
So the highest mountain is 2,000 feet, but 2,500 feet should be hidden.
Right. Okay.
Calais to Dover. Right. You should only see 300 feet is missing.
Yeah.
The highest peaks are 350 feet. But you can see the whole of the White Cliffs of Dover. But that one there, I mean, and what I'm saying is that, people say, refraction and all that, but look, refraction, has lifted it up like 300 feet. But here, refraction's lifted it up over, 273 miles away, has lifted it up 3 miles high. It always seems to be this refraction has kind of lifted it up just right. And so there's lots of. If I had enough money and I could print an encyclopedia of long-distance photographs of land that we shouldn't be able to see.
Are there not similar photographs which do also show the curve of the Earth? I feel like I've seen.
You've seen.
Well, so if you watch your ship disappear out of
You
your
know
eyes,
what? You've seen stuff like that. Felix Bombard.
It's like big salt plains where you can see the sort of drop off and. In Africa, I think.
See, with your
I believe
with
I've
your
seen-
eyes, you're not going to see any curvature. If you go and watch, do you know Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah.
Okay, so he says, like the Felix Baumgart, it would just be flat. At that high altitude, you're not going to see it on the ground. You're not going to see it on a plane. You're not going to even see it on the or as high as he jumped. And I'm not sure what the height was. What did it say? Was it 100,000 feet? But no, it doesn't. Hang on, what's it say? It said, 23 miles. Okay, so he sent it 23 miles high. And he says that no, that would be flat. You can check that on the internet. I mean, like he's like a science priest.
When you look out, when you look out at night time, don't you look at the moon at night time?
I do. I do.
It looks round, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks round, doesn't it?
Would you accept that all stars and planets are the same?
Yeah, I think they're the same.
Stars and planets.
Yeah, I think
and maybe Milky Ways.
Probably different,
and different. And black holes.
Probably,
black holes the same?
No.
Well, so all I'm trying to get, I'm just trying to make an analogy, a point. Like that, all heavenly bodies up there, they're not the same, are they?
No, different.
No, and nor we don't have to be the same as what's up there.
Yeah. But it
So
depends
just because they
Everything up there is quite consistently round, though. Anything you look at, and you can look at it with your own telescope, your own binoculars, however you like. You can look at all these things in the sky and see they're all. They may look 2D from our perspective, but they're all round.
Okay, but it still doesn't prove that we would be. They do.
It's some evidence.
I mean, look. They're
Some
stars.
evidence to
Now,
admit.
I've been told stars are trillions and quadrillion millions of miles away.
Yeah.
Okay. But when we film stars, we get them in focus like that, and we see them dancing plasma balls of all these different lights and colours and that.
Yes.
They're trillions and quadrillions of millions of miles away, and we see them dancing around.
We're seeing them from a very long time ago.
Well,
because the
that's
light
story.
travels a very long time.
Well, see, I disagree with that. Because if there's meant to be more stars than there is grains of sand, that's what we're told.
Yeah.
So if light travels forever, wouldn't the skies be white? Stars after stars behind stars behind stars.
It's a good question, but it's because there's so much there. It's a lot
saying is
of
that-
light gets diffused quite a lot.
All I'm
It's
saying is that
also
they're telling you stories, but we can't prove any of them stories. They're just stories. No proof, no scientific method proof or anything like that. No, just stories.
Come to think of it, if you're
I'm
arguing
throwing
this-
a lot of stories. I get it. If you're going to say that, I am.
I mean, yes, this picture in particular is bothering me slightly because, and you
it was
just
an example of how far the sun and moon would work on a flat plane.
But
Just an example.
But either way, you 100% believe we are a flat plane.
It's observably flat.
Okay.
But
there is a light source above us. If we are flat, there's a light source above us.
Okay, but if it's more, let's say I've got a torch here and I aim that torch down, you're not going to see it.
But what did you just say about stars?
Again,
That
I
it
don't
would be-
believe that
it
they're
would
carrying
be-
on forever. And it's higher.
But in
So
that-
I get.
but you can't believe both of those things.
In what way? Sorry.
And
Oh,
Hitler in the room,
get
he's
that.
got the other Free Society.
Because if there's a light source above us, you're comparing it to a torch, but a torch is very, very dim.
A lot more local.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But if the sun is like a star, and you're saying stars would make,
Well,
if
due
they're
to
how we
due
see
to
them.
the inverse square law of light, which is a new one that I learned, I don't believe that light travels forever. I do believe that there may be light does travel at a particular speed. I just think
Okay.
it would get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and then it's not seen. I don't believe that we see light forever.
Okay, so you can believe that there are stars in the sky that are
But I believe that they're
billions of
local.
light years away.
No, not
But if they're
billions.
local, much
More
like our
local,
sun is,
and a lot smaller.
then they would.
Well, they would be if they're the
This
same
is-
size and all that. It's all about how the intensity.
Okay, so you think
of
they're a
it
lot
is
smaller?
and, yeah. Because we haven't got any proof that they're so far away.
Ooh.
And remember,
not prepared for a debate here. But
I'm sorry. But look, I just think that they should offer a lot more evidence than what they're doing, and they're not. Because there's people like me on the street that is demanding the proof, and we're not getting the proof.
Can I ask how you do your research then? What is your method of?
It depends on what we're doing, isn't it? But it's mostly. I would say mostly it's what's on the internet. It has to be what's on the internet. It's Google. It's and it depends on what the subject is. It's YouTube. It's all sorts of different methods. And a lot of it is. I don't have a physics background. It's just common sense, logic thinking. That's all it is. I can only go on what I know, and
Okay.
and I'm just trying. I know I'm not delusional to convert anyone here on the street and say, you know, like in 10 minutes and all that, he's going to be a flat earther. That's never happened, and I would never dream of it. I just think that everyone should be able to challenge it and look for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair enough, because whether you like it or not, I mean, like, and if you like science and all that, you should be interested in this subject.
Oh, it's fascinating.
There you go.
That's why I'm here. It's a lot of fun.
So look. I mean, the biggest thing that you can do, and I don't know if you have done it, is list as many arguments as possible and all that, and debunk the bloody lot yourself, and then get on these sites and all that, and teach us all. Say where did we all go wrong? Because you know, because I see that there's a lot of people scoring points and just trying to big themselves up in egos and things like that, and they go on to, I mean, like people who believe that live on the globe, they go on to globe sites, kind of ridiculing and laughing at all these dumb flat earthers and all that. No, go on to their sites and educate us. And some people do, but it does fall flat quite a lot of the time.
It falls flat.
yeah. Sorry. No, there you go. Anyway, and I don't know enough information. All I'm trying to do is get people to a few websites and just bring them to the table, and more people that this should be talked about in every school, because that you should have, and it shouldn't be a like religious education. You get to talk about Christians, Muslims, Jews, and all the different religions. You get to talk about all that. You don't get to talk about all the different theories and all that. You get to talk about scientism.
It's true, but that's a certain point, because there's a lot of science.
But if you allow this in school, that means that the kids now are critically thinking, and they get to challenge the teachers, and then they get proof.
That can be critical thinking. I agree. Critical thinking should be taught more than it is.
I didn't even know what that word was until I got into this. You know, like there's some of us in our school, we don't. Honestly, it's not taught. It probably is when you get to university or something.
It's not worthwhile being taught in schools, generally speaking, because it's just accepted because there's enough proof. And granted, as I say, I'm not here for a debate.
Enough evidence.
Evidence.
Let's go for that.
That is true. But do you have less evidence than there is evidence for?
Oh yeah, but hang on, you say less evidence. Only what I can fit on the board. You know, like honestly, I mean, if I had enough money and enough time, resources, and all that, honestly, I could put banners like from the top right the way down to the bottom and say, "Come on, you lads, debunk this one." There's an overwhelming amount of evidence. It's just that you get to see as much of what you've researched. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you carry on down the rabbit hole. And look, and I'm not trying to make money or anything like that, but download that app. There's loads of questions on there, and and there's some great videos. Because I kind of think if you spend 2 weeks just watching them videos, 2 weeks, I'll tell you what, you'll have a different outlook. It's a tough one, and I'll tell you why it was tough. That's why it was tough. Cognitive dissonance. Did you go to university or anything?
Huh?
Did you go to university?
I did.
And I just said, you've got an invested interest in that, and can you imagine that? I mean, I don't know. I'm convinced that I'm right. I'm convinced of it, okay? Yeah. And you're convinced that you're right, and that the crazy man in the street just hasn't got enough education. But you could be wrong. There's a possibility that you're wrong.
That's always true. There's a lot of possibilities. One of my best moments in university, honestly, was studying a module about astrobiology, which is, I always say it's the alien subject.
All right, okay.
The alien subject. But part of that, legitimate science, is like the possibility that we live in a computer simulation.
Yeah, I heard
stuff
that as
like
well.
That.
And that
So
irritates me. That
anything is possible. But it's science, as you say, is about evidence and competing theories. This is one theory. I have another theory.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd say, you don't have a formal scientific background, but you've done research. So maybe you should learn more of the typical science.
No, I'll go for that. But maybe it's because it's easier for me because I'm not indoctrinated to your level. Sorry, just throwing that
That
in there.
makes sense at all. Okay.
Really? Come on, that's a good one, that.
Indoctrinated. I like it.
Very good.
I want to believe I'm in a cult. I like it.
There you go. No, he said that. I didn't say that. There you go. Look, it's good talking to you. It's really good. I'm going to move on to other people.
Have a good day.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. What was your name, by the way? Mark. It's really good. That's Mark, by the way. He's challenging me, and he probably knows more education than me. Well, a lot more, hell of a lot more. But as I said, he said he's in the cult, and I'm telling you he is indoctrinated. Hi guys, you alright there, buddy? You alright?
Yeah, I'll check them out definitely.
Very good. You finished? Hey, she's finished. Right, so it's my turn to sit down. I'll pass you on to Roxanne, and then she can get going. No.
It doesn't go like that. That's not a good question. Sorry, can you stop filming me, please?
It's my right. You can't stop me. Whoa,
Get a
whoa,
camera
whoa,
out my
whoa,
face.
whoa. Are you a glober or a flat earther? Go on, you're not gone. You've got to tell me off now. I just called you a flat earther. You're that flirter.
Sorry, I don't know what to do now I'm on the camera. I'm really camera shy. I'm not. No comment.
No
While you
comment.
got the camera on me, I'm not saying anything. Sorry. I'm
Okay,
not
but
saying
are you a flirter?
No.
You're not a flirter.
No.
Why aren't you a flirter?
What is a flat earther? Can you tell me what a flat earther is?
Flat earther.
What is a flat earther?
it's-
Can you
but
define flat earther to me?
I actually think it might be someone that actually believes
Flat earther is someone
believing
that
in a
doesn't-
model,
that
probably.
doesn't think the globe is true, right?
That's
A
it.
flat earther doesn't think they're on a spinning ball flying through space.
See,
So if that is the case, if a flat earther is just basically someone who's denounced the globe and they're not thinking they're on a spinning ball flying through space, then I'm a flat earther. But that's not what the public perceives a flat earther to be, is it?
What's that? Go on, tell
What
me.
I just said.
Yeah. I mean,
The public doesn't perceive a flat earther to be someone that just thinks they're not on a spinning ball flying through space. The public seems to perceive a flat earther as someone that thinks they live on a pizza dish flying through space. I'm still
fall off
working
the
out the
edge. Like
psychology
they've got
of
a
that.
model.
I'm still trying to work out. No, but they perceive that
Yeah,
we've got
yeah.
a model in our heads.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have an idea, but to not have a socially accepted conversation because they feel that we're pushing a claim on them. It's nuts. And I feel like the more we come out here to do this, the more social acceptance will come with questioning what we're taught as fact. So for that reason, no, I'm not a flat earther. I'm a globe denier.
there you go.
Sorry.
That's
Sorry,
what I've been telling them.
coming down saying that.
I've been
Well,
telling.
the Earth is
No, I've been
clearly
telling them as well.
perfectly
I'm a
flat.
globe
It's clearly
denier,
perfectly flat, but I'm not flat earther.
and you hate it now.
I don't hate it.
I
don't,
do.
I don't have nothing against anyone that wants to be a flat earther either. Just so long as they wear a big T-shirt going, I don't think it's a pizza dish in space.
Ah, yes.
Maybe that's the new T-shirt. I don't think it's a pizza dish in space.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of conversations that have got to happen about deconstructing the education system that's teaching us about outer space and teaching us things that don't stand up in our reality. So yeah, long story short, not flat earther.
Are we finished for the day?
I think we are. Now that I've arrived, we are.
Car park as well. Running out.
Oh yeah, the car park. Oh,
I don't know. I'll have to check. Guys. What?
you can watch them take it down.
All right. Okay. That'd be good.
There we are. Right, so you can chill with me for
Oh,
a bit now.
but you have to talk on the other side, so.
Oh, all right, yeah.
So you have to.
Why is it only?
The microphone's on this side.
Do this. Oh, obviously has to be that side. Okay. Can you hear me in the chat room? Give me one if you can hear me. Can anybody hear me in the chat room? Good. I hope you've all been enjoying the Globe Live tour out in Sheffield today. We've had some amazing interactions. Unfortunately, I've been sat there and I've been sat there doing my work all day. I'm grateful to have work, don't get me wrong, but it was painful to watch the activism going down today and not be able to take part in it and not be able to be part of the conversations that were going on today. But I saw some brilliant interactions. I saw a lot of people absorbing the banners and taking pictures with their mobile phones and videoing it as they were going past. A lot of leaflets and cards got handed out today. And all in all, I feel that a productive day was out here, had conversations, getting people to question what they've been taught as fact. A lot of people are walking past taking it as a given what their schools and mainstream media has propaganded to them. And we appreciate every single one of you that's taking the time out to tune in, to watch on replay, to like and share, to donate, to comment, to email, to give your constructive criticism, to make your suggestions, to be part of this tour in whatever way you can. If you are within reach of any of the destinations that are on www.globeli.co.uk, please come along to any of the destinations. Pretty much with all of the destinations we go to, we look for the main high street where all the banks are, where all the McDonald's is, where the Primarks and New Looks and Debenhams. Pretty much every high street you see us go to looks the same, right? Most of the... Woo! And there goes the charger. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this back on charge. Oh, you know the rubbish camera angles are starting to come out now that Roxanne's got the camera, right? So we're going to just try and plug this little thing in. Back on charge, get all the bags, everything's out. So, there's Debenhams. Thinking about what's up there, I don't know what's up there. So down there's New Look, the EE shop, JD Sports, Gap, Primark, all the banks, Santander, Barclays, Cafe Nero, Starbucks. So pretty much all of the destinations we're going to, we tend to go to the hub of the town centre. So the main centre of Liverpool, where the biggest Primark is in Liverpool, where the Debenhams is in Liverpool, and where all the big high street is in Liverpool, that's where we'll be going tomorrow. And pretty much all of the destinations we go to, no matter where it is, we'll have a high street, we'll have a massive Debenhams, a massive, House of Fraser, whatever it is, and that's where we'll be. So you don't have to be too much of a genius to work out where we'll be. If you've taken yourself to www.globeli.co.uk and familiarised yourselves with the dates and locations that we're going to, you will not be confused as to where we are. And if there are any changes in any of the dates and locations, you'll be the first to know. We'll both go live and we'll put on our community section. So if you haven't hit the bell for Jason's already, do so now. If you're watching this for the first time on a replay or just now and you haven't subbed to Jason at the Disbreeze channel, take yourself now and do that. Myself, Roxanne the Globalist and I are lifting the lid. There are a lot of channels. Go to the featured channels on Jason's and mine and you'll see everyone else's channels from there. There's also www.festart.co.uk. Check that out, and feconvention.com for the tickets for Kidderminster, which is on the 13th to the 15th of September, which we will all be at. I look forward to seeing everyone that's got tickets for that there. And as I said, that is from the 13th to the 15th of September in Kidderminster. So check out that. If there's any mods in the chat room just now, it'd be awesome if you could share all those links for us for the convention. And for Amsterdam as well, at the end of September. I'm gassed for that. Can't wait to be in Amsterdam at the end of September as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all. I have just had permission from my daughter that it's absolutely okay for me to stay with the tour. So Jessica has just given me the thumbs up to be on the tour for tomorrow for definite. So I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Not that I was anyway, but love you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
I'm going to be in Liverpool tomorrow. It looks like the gang's coming out tomorrow, so I'm getting a bit gassed already.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
There's going to be a few of us tomorrow. Possibly, I think we should be around about St John's area.
Cool, St
Somewhere
John's
there.
area. Liverpool.
Here we
We're
come.
going to have some Scouse Mouse.
Yeah.
Hey, calm down. Hey.
Whoa, whoa.
Hey,
You're not
hey,
coming.
calm down.
He's not coming.
Oh, why not?
Got a slave job to do.
Oh, is that old chestnut again?
Crap. Crap shoot. So that was my little interpretation of a Liverpudlian accent.
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna try and
I did tell everyone.
upscale that for tomorrow night and tomorrow in the daytime. So it's thanks from me, Roxanne the Globalist, and I'm getting my accent ready for tomorrow.
Hey, calm down.
How me doing, Jace? How me doing, Jace? Here's our Jace with a quick reminder. So yeah, we'll be in Liverpool tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been awesome watching the interactions. Like I said, I hope you've seen the community section of my page. I shared a brilliant picture of the whole crowd. Brilliant picture of your other half, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, she stands alone, man. She's in a league of her own. Wait till you see the picture. Wonder Woman, right there, just commanding everyone's attention. It was awesome. So check out that picture. Today's been great, hasn't it?
Been a fantastic day. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Brilliant. Always has.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hopefully we'll try and go live. I don't know what
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
dinner,
have a go. We'll try.
but you can be a fly on the wall, whatever we're doing. I might have a sandwich and a cup of tea for dinner. So we shall see. Thank you so much to John Thor, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, all of the mods that are in the chat as well. Let me just try and look at the chat just now. back off from you lot a bit. Back off. Lumberjack, Dr. LA 0206, Coffee Paul, Carolyn Gutterman Day, thank you so much for your donation as well, my darling. Michael B, Ricardo, thank you so much. Wayne Patrick. No, Carlisle's not tomorrow, Wayne. If you take yourself to www.globeli.co.uk, you will see where we are when we are. And to Effie Mowry, Marilyn Wisby. Okay. Oh, can't please everyone, eh? You can only please some of the people. Some of the time, not all of the people, all of the time. Only some of the people, some of the time. So, admittedly, we're not going to be able to make everybody happy. Thank you very much, everybody. And to... Hold on.
Because I told you I just started research, just got into
Red
it.
Eye Jedi. Gary Heather.
Yeah.
Jolly Man, Flat Plain, Oregon. Flat Earth Dude. Astro King. Lifting the Lid. Michael B. Brian Suka. Everybody else in the chat, thank you so much for your support. Please see all of the links if you haven't done so already. This talk could use any and every piece of help it could get to get this message of questioning what we've been taught is fact out to the public. Yeah, get people taking the time out to look at this subject. You've been amazing. We shall see you later on. This has been the Gold Live Tour, Day 6, Sheffield. See you soon.